Chapter 355. Tang Zheng's next attack was so fast that it was dazzling. Only the shadows of his fists could be seen flying. Kyle's chest, abdomen, and head were hit one after another, and the sound of his head breaking was incessant. Li Gu was dead meat. In the end, there was a loud bang as Kyle smashed into the hood of a car. The hood quickly caved in and white smoke rose from it. At this moment, screams suddenly sounded, and the foreign boxers were like springs under their feet. They quickly shot in front of Tang Zheng and glared at him. "You dare to hurt people?" Everyone was an expert. They didn't need to check at all to know how serious Kyle's injuries were. This person was really disabled. In the future, his fighting strength would be even worse than that of an ordinary person. It was very likely that he would be left with a disability. Tang Zheng stood proudly. Under the watchful eyes of the many enemies, he did not show the slightest bit of fear. Instead, the corners of his mouth hooked up into a faint smile as he said, "Do you want to start fighting here? I'll accompany you." Several boxers were eager to try, but they didn't dare to attack rashly. Tang Zheng's lightning-like attack just now had made them understand that Tang Zheng was not a showy fighter. He had real strength. "What are you doing?" Suddenly, Yu Zhankui walked out, and a large number of news reporters also heard the news and quickly walked out. Seeing this tense situation, the reporters seemed to have been injected with chicken blood. They were quite excited, and one after another, they raised their cameras and aimed them at the parties involved. Yu Zhangkui's face was gloomy. He glanced at the wounded and dying Kyle, then turned his head to stare at Tang Zheng. His eyes were almost spitting fire. He didn't expect Tang Zheng to be so bold and dare to attack in front of so many people. Moreover, his attack was so heavy that he directly disabled Kyle. "Tang Zheng, do you know what you are doing?" Yu Zhankui had already planned that no matter how Tang Zheng responded, the Martial Arts Association would win back face. However, Tang Zheng disrupted the rhythm. Tang Zheng said frankly, "Of course I know. This man not only insulted our country and our people, but also dared to attack our compatriots. Does he think that this is still a century ago? Hua Xia is going to let them bully her?" Tang Zheng's words were powerful and resonated with many people as they all shouted, "We will not allow them to bully us. If they dare to bully us, we will beat them until they are looking for their teeth on the ground and send them back to their grandma's house." "Shut up. Don't spout nonsense. These are VIP guests that the Martial Arts Association specially invited. They're here to participate in the martial arts tournament, and they're all very well-mannered people. How could they be like what you're saying?" Yu Zhankui spared no effort in defending the Westerners. "That's right. We didn't say anything at all. It's all because of this guy. He's the one who injured Kyle. He must be held responsible and be severely punished." The Westerners were not idiots and immediately agreed. Seeing the other party's clumsy praise, Tang Zheng laughed disdainfully. "You're lying in front of so many people. Don't you feel ashamed?" "That's right. It's too shameless. We're not blind or deaf. We won't forget what you've done just now. We'll remember all the insults you've inflicted on our country and our people." The crowd was agitated. This scene was recorded by the camera, and Tang Zheng's powerful questioning was also recorded without reservation. Yu Zhankui saw this and felt a chill in his heart. If this matter was messed up, then his benefits would be gone. All of his previous efforts would be in vain. Therefore, he shouted in a deep voice, "Shut up! He's a guest from afar. Hua Xia is a hospitable nation. How can we neglect our guests like this? Hurry up and help Mr. Kyle to get treatment. As for some people's responsibilities, they must be strictly investigated." As he spoke, he glared fiercely at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng wasn't afraid at all. He wasn't the ignorant person he used to be. He wasn't someone who could be bullied by others. "Dear guests, please come in first. I'll take care of this matter," Yu Zhankui carefully said to the Westerners. The Westerners coldly snorted. They also knew how to take advantage of the situation. Therefore, they glared at Tang Zheng with an unfriendly expression and left in a huff, entering the hotel. These people are also cowards. Kung Fu Bro is so powerful that they don't even dare to fart. The crowd vented their anger. "That's right. This is Hua Xia's land. How can they be allowed to strut around? Of course we have to thank Kung Fu Bro for this. Unlike some people who only know how to be arrogant at home, when they meet a foreigner, they're like their own son. The crowd's words were like steel needles that pierced Yu Zhangkui's heart. His heart felt as if it was bleeding. His expression kept changing until finally, his face was ashen as he said, "Tang Zheng, you have to take responsibility for your actions." "Huh, of course I will take responsibility. Let me tell you, I came this time to defeat these fighters you invited and let them know the profoundness of Hua Xia's martial arts." Tang Zheng solemnly vowed. Yu Zhangkui's eyes flashed with a hint of pride. He thought to himself that this brat still lowered his head to the Martial Arts Association and still came to participate in this martial arts convention. Tang Zheng didn't lower his head. The Martial Arts Association was so cunning that they used the Martial Arts Convention as a threat. If Tang Zheng didn't participate, then he wouldn't be able to compete with these fighters. Although he participated in the Martial Arts Convention and it looked like the Martial Arts Association temporarily suppressed Tang Zheng, in reality, this wasn't the case. This Martial Arts Convention scale was especially large. Not only did it attract domestic attention, but it also attracted international attention. The Martial Arts Convention's finals would be broadcasted live to the world on the internet. This was an excellent opportunity. Since Tang Zheng wanted to prove Hua Xia's martial arts to the world, then he would use this opportunity to show the world the power of Hua Xia's martial arts. He wanted to defeat all his opponents fair and square. When that time came, Hua Xia's martial arts would be deeply rooted in the hearts of the people, and the spirit of martial arts would be reinstilled in the hearts of Hua Xia's people. The Martial Arts Association's sinister goal would be destroyed. Therefore, Tang Zheng was only a temporary drag, and they would fight for greater benefits in the future. Isn't the deadline for the Martial Arts Convention's registration later? I also want to sign up. Tang Zheng said, When the time comes, don't get kicked out in the knockout round. That would really be a disgrace. How can you talk about being broad and profound?" Yu Zhangkui said sarcastically. Tang Zheng didn't care and strode into the hotel. Yu Zhangkui followed dejectedly. The other reporters were all excited. They had already thought of the title and content for tomorrow's report. This martial arts convention would definitely attract everyone's attention. Tang Zheng finished the registration procedures and then sat in the audience seats in the hall. The Westerners sat directly at the guest seats. Under the spotlight, they showed unruly expressions. In addition, a few of the leaders of the Martial Arts Association and a few sect leaders were also sitting in the guest seats. These people were frequent guests of the previous martial arts circle tournaments, but this time, all of them had resentment on their faces. They seemed to be a little absent-minded, especially when they looked at the Westerners. Their gazes were filled with fear. Obviously, they also understood that they were not a match for these people with flashy moves. Many people did not understand why Yu Zhangkui would make such a big deal out of this martial arts tournament and invite all the powerful boxers in the world. Was he not deliberately making things difficult for them? However, Yu Zhangkui had an official status, and the martial arts convention was a semi-official competition. Of course, Yu Zhangkui made the final decision. Even if others had different opinions, they could only keep them. The audience seats were gradually filled with people. Many of them were the crowd that had just watched. They all gave Tang Zheng a thumbs up and cheered him on. Li Shaon sat next to him and whispered, "You were so impressive just now. You completely suppressed the momentum of that group of people." Tang Zheng lightly said, "Don't underestimate these Westerners. In fact, their strength is not bad. Just now, even though I knocked down Kyle with a series of attacks, I also felt that the opponent's body was strong." After a pause, he sighed and continued, "In fact, to be honest, the bodies of foreigners are really stronger than many of our people. This leads to their great strength. Their boxing skills are also relatively simple. They don't have as many martial arts routines as our country. They pay more attention to external attack power than internal force cultivation. This is another way of cultivation, but after successful cultivation, their strength can't be underestimated." Li Shaotian nodded. "I haven't had much contact with these Westerners, but what you said makes sense. Just now, I saw that there were indeed masters in the other team. Although they didn't have strong internal force fluctuations, Their combat strength can't be underestimated. Your cultivation is only equivalent to that of a Hotian warrior, so you have to be careful. Li Xiaotian didn't know that Tang Jing had broken through to the fasting realm, which was equivalent to that of a Xiantian warrior. However, Tang Jing didn't explain. He just nodded gently to show that he understood. There was another clamor at the door, and another group of people walked in. However, these people didn't have Western faces. Instead, they had Eastern faces like the people from Huaxia. However, it was obvious that these people weren't from Huaxia, but from several countries around Huaxia. Their land area couldn't be compared to that of Huaxia, but many of them were very developed. Especially in the area of martial arts, many countries' martial arts were even passed down from Huaxia hundreds of thousands of years ago, and then passed down and improved to the current situation. Therefore, many martial arts were of the same origin as Huaxia's martial arts. There were also many that paid attention to the cultivation of internal force, which was completely different from Western boxing. Tang Jing swept his gaze around and noticed a person in the group. This person was extremely skinny and did not have a trace of excess meat on his body. His physique was not tall, only 1.7 meters tall. His face was dark, but his eyes were filled with an ominous light. Tang Jing took notice of his 2 legs. When he walked, they were strong and powerful. Moreover, every step seemed to have been measured, not a bit more, not a bit less. This person is Sampa, Tang Jing said. Li Shaoan also noticed this person and secretly nodded. He's worthy of being the #1 master of Muay Thai. Although he looks to be in his 30s, his cultivation is definitely not low. He's quite a strong opponent for you. Chapter 356. These Asian faces were not simple, and Tang Jing felt a familiar aura from a few of them. Island Nation warriors. Tang Jing had fought with the Island Nation people too many times, so he was quite familiar with their aura and mannerisms. Island Nation people are here again? Did Sawada Ichiro summon them? But I didn't find Sawada Ichiro among them? He did not know the details, so he looked at the other Asian faces. These people were like actors in an opera, and many of them were even in makeup, giving off a feminine vibe. Hey, these people must be from the small country in the East, Korea. Plastic surgery is popular in the country, but their TV series and variety shows have a lot of fans in Huaxia. Such a small country is participating in the Martial Arts Circle Convention. This time, the Martial Arts Association is really determined, Tang Jing said. He did not have a good impression of this country that liked to steal the traditional culture of other countries. He thought to himself that he must teach these Koreans a lesson during the competition. Li Xiaotian said with a half-smile, "You're going against the whole world." So what? Don't be fooled by the so-called martial arts of some countries, but when it comes to a real life and death battle, it might not be useful. Take Korea's Taekwondo for example. It's purely for showing off and tricking little girls. It's not presentable, Tang Jing said disapprovingly. Li Xiaotian agreed. That's why you have to expose their disguise this time. If it wasn't for my sensitive identity, I would want to participate in this martial arts circle convention. Many guests were invited to the stage, and the audience below the stage was also filled with people. There was a long row of cameras and cameras. The chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkue, went up to the stage to give a speech and announce some details of the Martial Arts Circle Convention. The Martial Arts Circle Convention would be held tomorrow at the National Stadium, and it would be the largest martial arts circle convention in history. Then, a few guest representatives spoke. Dai Beiyan from the Western Empire pointed out that they would definitely defeat Huaxia's martial arts and show them a true master. Such remarks immediately provoked a backlash from the people below, and there was a lot of discussion. However, the Westerner was not afraid at all, and continued to speak step by step. In fact, this was a provocation. Coupled with the scene at the entrance of the hotel, many people hated these Westerners. The representatives of the Island Nation and the Gaoli Nation also spoke one after another. Although their words were very calm and did not have too many provocative words, the confidence and arrogance revealed between the lines still made people secretly hate them. The great Huaxia was provoked by such a small country. Many people could not bear such humiliation. They looked at the representative of the Martial Arts Association, hoping that he could give a strong counterattack. The representative of the Martial Arts Association looked down with an expressionless face, as if he had not heard anything. It was chilling. Siam's Muay Thai representative, Sampa, stood up to speak. His men glanced at the crowd, as if trying to find someone. His Hua-Xia language was very stiff, but people could barely understand. I came here to duel with the person in the video. He is a master. I will have a fair fight with him, and I will defeat him. After that, he turned around and walked back to his seat. Everyone immediately knew who he was talking about, and quite a few people turned to look at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's heart moved, as even though this Song Ba still displayed a powerful self-confidence, he sounded much more pleasing to the ear than the other speakers. At the very least, he did not mix in so many messy words of arrogance, and instead purely pursued a confrontation of strength. The representative of the Martial Arts Association went on stage. He was expressionless and spoke as if he was reciting a script. He said that the most important thing was to participate, to compete, and to learn humbly from everyone. The crowd was infuriated. Just now, so many people were pointing at the nose and saying that Chinese martial arts would not be able to withstand a single blow and would definitely defeat the Chinese. However, this spokesperson turned a deaf ear to them like a puppet and said such nonsense as if he was chanting scriptures. As long as it was someone with passion and a sense of national honor, they would not be able to stand it. Sure enough, a shoe was thrown out from the crowd and directly hit the representative's face, leaving a clear shoe print. Get out, we don't want to listen to your nonsense. Damn it, they are bullying us and you only know how to talk nonsense. It's really embarrassing. Yes. Get out, you can't represent Hua-Xia's martial arts. The crowd was agitated, and many people stood up. The situation suddenly collapsed, and the reporters recorded this explosive scene. The representative's face turned red with embarrassment, and he did not know what to do. Didn't he always speak like this before? There had never been a problem, so why did it go wrong this time? He did not know that many people in the audience had already been provoked. His soft speech was like a fuse that ignited the explosive in the hearts of the audience. The representative turned to Yu Zhangkue and asked him to make the decision. Yu Zhangkue's face was livid. A good press conference turned out like this, and it made him lose face. He got up, walked over and scolded in a low voice, "Get out." The representative felt like he had been granted amnesty and went back to sit down dejectedly. Yu Zhangkue coughed, cleared his throat and said sternly, "What are you doing? This is a press conference, not a market. It's not a place where you can do whatever you want. F***if, you were bullied to the point of being a coward. Are you still Hua-Xia's people? How dare you scold us?" Another shoe flew out from the crowd and hit Yu Zhangkue's face. Yu Zhangkue did not let down his guard. Moreover, he had some martial arts skills, so he quickly dodged. However, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Another shoe also flew out, and it just happened to calculate the trajectory of his dodge, and it ruthlessly hit his face. Slap. There was a soft sound, like a slap on his face. This time, the person who threw the shoe was very strong, and his face immediately turned red. Yu Zhangkue was about to go crazy. He flew into a rage and said, "Who is it? Who attacked me? I'm going to catch you and make you suffer." However, there were so many people in the audience. How could he find the murderer? Get out, Hua-Xia's martial arts are not something you can represent. Kung Fu Bro, let Kung Fu Bro go up. Only Kung Fu Bro can represent Hua-Xia's martial arts. Get out of the F***King Martial Arts Association. Yes, get out of the Martial Arts Association. Let Kung Fu Bro speak. Kung Fu Bro. Kung Fu Bro. The crowd immediately boiled over. Everyone shouted the three words, Kung Fu Bro, at the same time. It was deafening. The people from the Martial Arts Association were about to go crazy, especially Yu Zhangkue. If this went on, it would be impossible for him to announce the end of the press conference immediately. He glanced at the crowd and immediately saw Tang Zheng. He remembered this face very clearly, and it could be said that he hated it to the bone. His dislocated arm had been completely restored, but when he saw Tang Jing, he faintly felt pain in his arm. Tang Jing, I will definitely let you win or lose in the competition. You want to ruin my good thing? No way. His eyes bloomed with resentment. Li Xiaotian pushed Tang Jing's shoulder and said, Your voice is so loud. Don't you want to go up and say a few words? Tang Jing looked at Yu Zhangkui and the group of good-for-nothings from the Martial Arts Association from afar, especially the mocking and arrogant attitude of the foreign boxers. The anger in his heart rose. Since this matter could not be settled peacefully, there was no room for retreat, and there was no need to save face for them. Tang Jing stood up suddenly. Immediately, everyone's gaze was attracted to him, and he became the focus of attention. The crowd's shouts came to an abrupt stop as everyone looked at Tang Jing with burning eyes, and their hearts uncontrollably sped up by a bit. Kung Fu Bro finally stood up. Tang Jing strode to the podium, ignoring Yu Zhangkui's murderous gaze. He unceremoniously pushed Yu Zhangkui away and said into the microphone, Some people think that our Huaxia people are still the sick and weak body from more than 100 years ago. Some people think that our Huaxia people are still bullied and humiliated by others. Some people think that our martial arts are fragile. Today, I stand here to tell these people that the Huaxia people have risen in the world. The humble gift package of the Huaxia people will definitely give the enemy a fatal blow. The martial arts of Huaxia are extensive and profound, with a long history, and will definitely bloom with the brightest light. Those who dare to come to our country and criticize us will be kicked back to their grandma's home. The crowd was really quiet, and even a pin drop could be heard. Everyone stared at Tang Jing with their eyes wide open. The foreigners were shocked that there was such a person in Huaxia, but they were also very angry. Tang Jing vividly showed his confidence in Huaxia's martial arts, which was unacceptable to them. In their hearts, their own martial arts were the most powerful. The people of the Martial Arts Association were so ashamed that they wanted to find a hole to hide in. However, these officials' faces were thicker than the city walls. They still sat in their seats calmly, but their eyes were full of resentment when they looked at Tang Jing. They seemed to hate Tang Jing more than the foreigners. They wanted to eat his flesh and drink his blood. However, for the ordinary audience, Tang Jing's words were like an accelerant, completely igniting the blood in their hearts. They only heard the earth-shattering cheers one after another. Yes, kick him back to his grandma's home. Huaxia will win. Huaxia will win. The unprecedented confidence and enthusiasm made every audience clench their fists. Their eyes were red with excitement, and hot tears filled their eyes. How many years had it been since they heard such exciting words? Every time they were faced with external pressure and bullying, they were given a soft official answer, which had worn away too much of the people's enthusiasm and faith. Tang Jing's words just happened to ignite their last trace of enthusiasm. This enthusiasm exploded, and the energy that was glowing was stronger than ever before. No one dared to underestimate it. Clap, clap, clap. Chapter 357. The press conference ended, and the Martial Arts Association slipped away with their tails between their legs. Tang Jing, on the other hand, was in the limelight and became the darling of the media. Countless reporters wanted to interview him, and the audience also surrounded him. Fortunately, he and Li Xiaotian had profound skills, so they did everything they could to squeeze out of the crowd. This press conference caused the Martial Arts Association to lose face and made Tang Jing famous. Immediately after, there were related reports on the internet, and they were quickly reposted. Tang Jing's speech was very short, but it was a powerful reply to the foreigner's provocation. It was 1,000,000 times sharper than the Martial Arts Association's soft and superficial speech, and it was also more inspiring. Kung Fu Bro's reputation was even more well-known on the internet. This martial arts convention also became a hot topic. Many people who originally did not pay attention to this aspect also gradually paid attention. As for the Martial Arts Association, they were even more scolded, especially Yu Zhangkui, the president of the Martial Arts Association, was also scolded by name. Yu Zhangkui walked around in exasperation, and a few cups were already smashed on the ground. He muttered, "You've gone too far. Tang Jing, I won't let you go." This press conference is messed up, and this kid stole the limelight. He also neglected the important guests. What should we do now? Dong dong. The sound of footsteps could be heard as Mr. Wales walked in. Yu Zhangkui's heart skipped a beat and he was shocked. He hurriedly went up to greet him without any arrogance. Instead, he bowed and said with trepidation, "Mr. Wales, about today's press conference?" Mr. Wales waved his hand and said, "It's fine. Tang Jing stole the limelight this time and stirred up many people's emotions, but this is only temporary. The higher he climbs, the more painful it will be when he falls. When his image in people's minds collapses, Hua Xia's spirit will naturally collapse. It will be difficult to gather this spirit again within 100 years. Yu Zhangkui was overjoyed. He gave a thumbs up and praised, "Mr. Wales is truly brilliant. This effect is even better. Let him jump around for a few days." Wales nodded and continued, "But Kyle was seriously injured by him and became a cripple. This matter cannot be ignored." "Oh, then what are you going to do? Should we call the police and arrest him?" "Hee, if we call the police and arrest him, how are we going to defeat him in the ring?" Wales said mysteriously. "Oh, then what should we do? I have my own plans." Killing intent shot out from Wales' eyes as he spoke in a profound manner. Yu Zhangkui couldn't help but recall the scene of Tang Jing and Kyle fighting earlier. Kyle didn't have the strength to fight back at all, which meant that Tang Jing's strength was very high. "Thus," he said worriedly, "Tang Jing's skills are not simple, I'm afraid." Wales understood what he meant and sneered mysteriously, "So what if you're good at fighting in this world? You still need to rely on your brain." As he spoke, he pointed at his own head proudly. Yu Zhangkui's heart trembled as he pondered. When Tang Jing returned to school, he was blocked by Yi Dingdang. The girl pouted and looked at Tang Jing with resentment. "You've been with Li Xiaotian these past few days and didn't accompany me? If you're going to that press conference, I can go with you." Tang Jing smiled bitterly. "Aren't you in class? I'm going to skip class." "I can skip class too," Yi Dingdang said without hesitation. She even purposely glanced at Li Xiaotian. This woman was too shameless. She followed Tang Jing all day like a third wheel. Now that the two of them were talking intimately, she was also watching with interest. She openly listened to them from the side. Yi Dingdang naturally couldn't show weakness. Thinking of Feng Xinyang's advice, she gritted her teeth and hugged Tang Jing's arm. Tang Jing immediately felt a soft sensation on his arm. He couldn't help but glance down. His arm was pressed against her chest and was a little deformed. "You're very famous now. Many people on the internet are supporting you, hoping that you can defeat those foreigners. Are you confident?" Yi Dingdang asked curiously. "You and I have known each other for so long. Do you think I won't be confident?" "Of course you are," Yi Dingdang said. "You're the best. You can definitely defeat those people and become the champion." "Then do you have classes tomorrow? Come with me to the arena." Tang Jing's heart moved as he asked. Yi Dingdang was overjoyed and hurriedly nodded her head. "Okay, the two of us will go together. I also want to see those fighters. Do you want me to pull in some cheerleaders to cheer you on?" "No need." Tang Jing declined. "Let's wait until the finals." The next day, Tang Jing rested for the whole night. Then Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian went to the national stadium together for the first round of the knockout round. There were already many people outside the stadium. Everyone's interest was aroused by the media's lengthy reports. They all wanted to see the situation of the real masters fighting. However, when the knockout round started, everyone found that there were no foreigners on the stage. They were all Huaxia people. The organizers of the Martial Arts Association explained that the foreign boxers were specially invited guests. They were masters who had been internationally famous for a long time. Therefore, they were qualified to advance directly and didn't need to participate in the knockout round. This aroused the dissatisfaction of the audience. This was clearly discrimination. In their own country, foreigners were superior. How preposterous! However, the rules of the game were set by the Martial Arts Association and couldn't be changed. Everyone could only focus on the knockout round. The elimination round was not much different from the previous rounds in the martial arts tournament. They were all flashy fights, and they fought against each other for a long time. They looked incredibly dangerous, but in truth, they were all moves that had been rehearsed beforehand, and they were incredibly fake. The audience was tired of this fake show. They snorted at it and kept booing. All the boxers resisted the booing and finally decided the winner. They couldn't wait to get off the stage. "We want to see Kung Fu Bro's real skills." "Kung Fu Bro, hurry up and get on the stage," someone shouted. The others echoed. "Actually, Kung Fu Bro can advance directly." These people from the Martial Arts Association are very despicable. They don't treat everyone equally. They even made Kung Fu Bro fight from the start of the knockout round. Yes, this is clearly bullying. It doesn't matter. Do those idiots from the Martial Arts Association think this can stump Kung Fu Bro? Wishful thinking. Let us see Kung Fu Bro pass all the stages and defeat all his opponents. This was not like the small audience at the press conference, but an audience of over 1,000 people. However, because this was the elimination round, and one needed to buy tickets, there were only over 1,000 people in the audience. However, because this was the elimination round, and one needed to buy tickets, there were only over 1,000 people in the audience, but these over 1,000 people cheering for Tang Zheng was also quite spectacular. Tang Zheng was in the limelight, completely suppressing the others, causing the other participants to have ugly expressions. However, no one dared to raise any objections as there was no other way. Tang Zheng had real martial arts, while they had fake martial arts. When the devil meets the devil, how could they have the right to make a fuss? Yu Zhankui didn't come today because he knew that Tang Zheng would win without any suspense. He didn't want to be provoked again. Tang Zheng's opponent was a man in his 50s. When he saw Tang Zheng, his legs trembled. He obviously knew that he was no match for Tang Zheng, but he didn't have the courage to give up. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. The two sides exchanged blows. Tang Zheng's movements were like lightning and thunder. It was too fast. Just as his opponent got into position, Tang Zheng's fist was already in front of him. He quickly retreated in a panic. This person was a little quick-witted. As he retreated, he directly fell to the ground and dodged the attack. Tang Zheng leaped over him and swept his leg. Just as this person got up, he realized that Tang Zheng's leg was ruthlessly whipping him. He hurriedly reacted and put his fists in front of his chest. Tang Zheng's leg ruthlessly whipped his fists. He staggered and staggered back. Tang Zheng had seen this person yesterday. He was the representative of Hua Xia sitting in the guest seats. It was said that he had participated in several martial arts conferences and was the leader of some sect. Tang Zheng originally thought that his opponent had at least some kung fu, but after testing him, he realized that his opponent really only knew how to use flowery but impractical moves. It was all a sham. Tang Zheng had no interest in exchanging blows. He controlled his strength and punched out. The opponent couldn't dodge and was hit in the chest. With a whoosh, his opponent flew out of the ring and fell to the ground, motionless. The referee immediately announced that Tang Zheng was the winner. The crowd burst into earth-shattering cheers. Many people even shouted, "Kung Fu Bro." Tang Zheng nodded to the audience. This battle was won too easily. There was no suspense. He subconsciously looked at his opponent below the ring and found that he was still motionless. The staff members had already rushed to him and helped him up. Suddenly, the staff members' expressions changed greatly. Their eyes bloomed with disbelief. They all turned to look at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's head trembled. He couldn't help but have an ominous premonition. He quickly walked over. The others' attention was also attracted. They all talked at once, not knowing what had happened. "What's wrong?" Tang Zheng asked. The staff member said with an ugly expression, "He died." "What, he died?" Tang Zheng was shocked. His punch was not enough to kill him. Although this person's moves were flowery but impractical, he was much stronger than the average person. It was impossible for him to die after taking his punch. Tang Zheng's expression was dignified and suspicious. The staff members were even more nervous. This kind of martial arts competition would definitely cause injuries, but no one had ever died. So everyone was a little at a loss. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Tang Zheng had killed his opponent with a single punch. This matter was blown out of proportion. The audience immediately knew what had happened and they all showed horrified expressions. A martial arts competition was not about killing people. It would be too vicious to directly kill someone. Some of the martial arts factions loudly reprimanded Tang Jing, saying that he was too cruel and merciless. He must pay with his life. The dead man's fellow disciples rushed over and threw themselves on the dead man's body. They wailed and shouted, "Sect leader, you died so unjustly. We will definitely avenge you. A life for a life. We must not let the murderer get away with it." Chapter 358. Everyone was in an uproar. Tang Jing had killed someone in front of so many people. This matter had blown up. This was not a life and death competition. There had to be someone responsible for a murder case. Everyone looked at Tang Jing with a complicated expression. Even the audience members who had supported Tang Jing just now had forgotten what to say. They were at a loss. The deceased's disciples had already called the police. Someone blocked Tang Jing's path, as if they were afraid that he would escape. However, no one made a move. They all knew that they were no match for Tang Jing. They were also worried that they would follow in the footsteps of their sect leader. However, pairs of resentful eyes were vividly displayed. "You can't escape. The police will be here soon. There are so many witnesses. Don't even think about escaping the punishment of the law." Tang Jing frowned and said sternly, "My punch could not have killed him. There must be something wrong." Twisting words and forcing logic. How dare you twist words and force logic after killing someone? You're too much of a bully. Everyone, help us testify. This person killed our sect leader, but he denied it. Is there such a despicable person in the world? Allowing such a person to participate in the Martial Arts Society convention is ruining the convention's reputation. Tang Jing looked on coldly and said, "Whether or not I am qualified to participate in the Martial Arts Society convention is not up to you. As for his death, there will naturally be a forensic doctor who will give a verdict. Then we'll wait and see. Let's see how you escape the law and the condemnation of your conscience." In the face of everyone's questioning, Tang Jing's expression did not change. His mind was already racing. He still had no way to investigate the cause of the other person's death. He could only wait and see. After a while, the police car drove directly into the stadium. The deceased was carried into the car, and Tang Jing was directly taken to the car by the police. Tang Jing did not resist because he was not guilty. He also wanted to understand the reason. The elimination competition came to an abrupt end. It could not be held. It was temporarily changed to the next day. Some of the police brought people back to the police station, while others recorded the statements of the witnesses. As for the deceased, he was sent to the police station for an autopsy. Someone slammed the table in front of Tang Jing. The two policemen opposite him began to ask questions, and Tang Jing answered them in detail. The two policemen's expressions were a little strange. Killing someone with one punch, how strong was this person's hand? These martial artists really shouldn't be provoked. According to everyone's testimony, the victim was killed by you with one punch. What do you think about this? The police asked over and over again, and they connected many clever questions together. If Tang Jing lied, he would be exposed. This was the most basic interrogation routine, but Tang Jing was telling the truth. His answers were the same several times without any discrepancy. "He took my punch, but whether or not he died because of this punch I am not sure, but one day I must declare that my punch can't kill people," Tang Jing said solemnly. In several other interrogation rooms, the deceased's disciples insisted that Tang Jing deliberately killed the victim and must be severely punished. Although some of the audience confirmed that the victim died under Tang Jing's fist, they still defended him, thinking that it was impossible. Perhaps the victim was scared by Tang Jing. The news of the death in the elimination competition had spread, and there was a lot of discussion. The competition between the cessation of martial arts faction and the anti-martial arts faction continued. Both sides had their own opinions. Some people even suggested that the victim had a serious illness, so he died suddenly. Some people also suggested that the victim knew that he was not a match for Tang Jing, so he was scared to death. In short, there was a fierce discussion, and no one came to a conclusion. At the end of the interrogation, Tang Zheng repeatedly reiterated that he was not the murderer. Although there were many witnesses, the autopsy results of the deceased were still needed to prove it. As the biggest suspect, Tang Zheng was left in the police station. This time, Tang Zheng did not resist, but was very cooperative. This made the police officer who handled the case suspicious and feel flattered. As for Li Xiaotian and Yi Dingdang, the two did not follow to the police station. Before Tang Zheng was taken away, he secretly told the two to look for clues. There was something fishy about this matter. The two immediately took action, and more information about the deceased gathered. When night fell, Tang Zheng was lying alone in a single room in the guard room. After making sure that there was not much movement around, he quietly made a dummy with a pillow and lay on the bed. After covering himself with a quilt, he sneaked out of the room. How could a guard room like this trap him? He appeared and disappeared like a ghost, passing through the passageways and arriving at the basement. The basement was eerie, and it was chilling. This was the place where the police conducted the autopsy. The reason Tang Zheng was willing to stay at the police station was because of this corpse. In the middle of the night, the forensic doctor had already left, and the basement was empty. Tang Zheng had even seen ghosts before, so of course, he was not afraid of this environment. On the cold operating table was a corpse with its chest and stomach cut open. It was obvious that the autopsy had just been carried out. Tang Zheng recognized at a glance that it was the person who had fought with him. Tang Zheng saw the autopsy results next to the corpse. It was clearly recorded that the deceased had died from a heavy blow to the heart. Tang Zheng was shocked. The two of them looked down. Sure enough, the chest of the corpse was cut open, and the heart was indeed ruptured. It seemed to have been caused by a heavy blow. However, Tang Zheng carefully examined the corpse a few more times. Other than the heart, the other internal organs were intact. Even the skin did not have any traces of a fist. This was extremely abnormal. Moreover, he believed that his punch could not have ruptured the other party's heart. At the time, he had already discovered that the other party only knew how to use fancy moves, so he had deliberately reduced his strength. That punch would have only caused a dull pain in the other party's chest, but it would not have been fatal. Just as he was thinking hard, he suddenly felt the air around him become cold, as if the temperature had dropped by a few degrees. He could not help but shiver. However, it was not out of fear. Instead, he was surprised to see a soul float up from the corpse. Although this person had been dead for a long time, the soul had not completely left the body. At this moment, the yang energy was the weakest and the yin energy was the thickest in the world. His soul had finally left the body at midnight. The soul glanced at Tang Zheng, and his eyes flashed with surprise. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat. The souls he had seen before were muddle-headed, but this soul was obviously much more awake and had a lot of consciousness from when he was alive. Tian Chanzi had once told him that this kind of situation was rare, but it was not impossible. For example, if the deceased had a strong obsession, or if the deceased was a powerhouse when he was alive, then the soul would be much stronger. Even after death, the soul would not immediately become muddle-headed. Although this person only knew how to use fancy moves, he was obviously more powerful than ordinary people. His soul was much stronger. This made Tang Zheng overjoyed. Since the other party still had the consciousness of when he was alive, then he could directly ask him about what happened when he was alive. How did you die? My fist definitely couldn't kill you, so did you die because of some other reason? Tang Zheng directly asked. The soul looked at Tang Zheng in surprise. You don't have to be surprised. I can see you and hear you. As long as you tell me the truth, I will definitely avenge you, Tang Zheng said. The soul screamed, You are the one who killed me. Tang Zheng suspiciously wrinkled his eyebrows and said, Let me reiterate, that punch of mine definitely won't be able to kill you. The one who killed you is someone else. You are already dead, so why would I lie to you? The soul was startled and stared blankly at Tang Zheng, as if he was trying to determine whether Tang Zheng was telling the truth. The moment you hit me, my heart started to beat faster. I felt blood fill my heart completely in an instant. A strong force broke through my heart, and then I lost consciousness, the soul said after recalling. Tang Zheng's eyes lit up and said, You are saying that the strong force in your heart came from within, and not from external pressure? The soul was not an idiot and immediately realized the crux of the problem. It seems like that is the case. After all, he had also practiced some martial arts, so he understood that the pressure caused by the heavy blow was definitely from the outside, and not from the inside out. This meant that Tang Zheng's fist was indeed not the real cause of his death. The soul was at a loss. He usually did not have any heart disease, so why would he have such symptoms? Tang Zheng thought more and pondered for a moment before asking, "What did you do before the match?" "Nothing much. I felt a little nervous, so I drank a glass of water to ease my nerves," the soul said. Water. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat. The problem must be in that glass of water. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. After I drank the water, my nerves did not ease. Instead, my heart beat faster. I became even more nervous. The soul recalled and seemed to have realized something. "Did someone drug me?" Tang Zheng nodded with a serious expression. "Most likely, but the key is who is the murderer. What evidence do I have to prove this?" The soul was at a loss. "I didn't offend anyone. Why would someone want to harm me?" "They didn't harm you, but me. It's only because you are my opponent that they attacked you." Tang Zheng had already figured out the crux of the matter. There must be some drug in that glass of water that caused his heart to explode. Coincidentally, his punch had landed on the soul's chest, so it gave people the impression that he had killed the soul. It was too vicious. Such a flawless plan left him speechless. Did they want him to be unable to continue participating in the martial arts tournament? Who would do such a thing? The answer was obvious. If it was not Yu Zhangkue, then it was Wales behind him. The forensic doctor did not find any evidence. It must be that the drug was special and did not leave any traces in the soul's body. Tang Zheng had no proof. It was impossible for him to say that he found the ghost of the deceased and solved this murder case together with the other party. "I knew they wouldn't let it go, but I didn't expect them to be so insidious. It's only the knockout round and they're already playing tricks." Whoosh whoosh. Chapter 359. Tang Zheng turned around like lightning, only to see two ghost messengers holding spears suddenly appear in the room. Tang Zheng had not seen the ghost messengers for a long time, but he was not afraid. Instead, he stared at them with burning eyes. "This person can see us." The ghost messengers exclaimed. "Who are you? Why are you here?" Tang Zheng coldly snorted. When he killed the ghost messengers, he even attracted the ghost general. Furthermore, by a freak combination of factors, the ghost general injured Wu, allowing him to escape. However, in the end, the ghost general died in the 10-direction killing array. From then on, he never met the ghost general or ghost messengers again. Today, by a freak combination of factors, he met the ghost messengers. Furthermore, the other party already knew his secret. Of course, he could not let them leave so easily. How can there be someone in this world who can see us? Could it be the human who killed our ghost messengers and ghost general not long ago? The ghost messengers cried out in alarm, their faces revealing fear. This matter caused a huge commotion in the ghost realm. However, after investigating for a long time, the ghost realm could not find any clues. In the end, the matter was left unsettled. However, among the ghost messengers who frequently traveled between the ghost realm and the human realm, they were extremely fearful of that mysterious human. However, the other party seemed to have disappeared into thin air. Only then did the ghost messengers slightly dispel the doubts in their hearts. However, these two ghost messengers did not expect that today, they would hit the jackpot and actually meet this killing star. The two ghost messengers reacted extremely quickly. They immediately opened the ghost gate and jumped in. However, Tang Zheng's speed was extremely fast. A black light flashed in his hand and the War Soul sword appeared in his hand, blocking the path of the two ghost messengers. With two swishing swords, the two ghost messengers directly turned into a mass of yin qi, which was finally absorbed by the War Soul sword. Seeing this scene, the ghost was scared out of his wits. He quickly floated to the side, avoiding Tang Zheng. However, Tang Zheng did not do anything to him. He advised, "Quickly go to the ghost realm, but you have to remember what to say and what not to say. Don't think that you can be safe and sound in the ghost realm. I can also go to the ghost realm. If I know that you dare to mention me to others, I will definitely chase you to the ghost realm. The ghost hurriedly nodded. Yes, I won't say anything. Thank you for letting me go. With that said, he jumped into the ghost gate and disappeared. Tang Zheng put away the ghost envoy's command medallion and closed the ghost gate. He heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. He could also kill that ghost with a single strike of his sword, causing his soul to truly scatter and disappear from this world. However, Tang Jing still did not do so. The other party had died because of him. If he were to destroy the other party's soul, it would be too unkind. Tang Zheng quietly returned to the guardroom and slept soundly. He was very curious as to how the police would deal with him. However, when the door to the guardhouse opened, he was told that he could leave. That person's death had nothing to do with him. Tang Zheng clearly remembered that the forensic report he saw last night said that it was related to him. Why did the police's attitude change so drastically after one night? When he walked out of the police station, he found out the reason. He saw that under the light of the rising sun, Yi Dingdang was beautifully bathed in the sunlight. She was like a goddess, exuding a soul-stirring beauty. Yi Dingdang cheered and flew towards Tang Zheng. Last night was simply torture for her. Only now did she realize that her feelings for Tang Zheng were getting stronger and stronger. When she saw the police take him away, she wished that she could take his place. Although only one night had passed, she really felt that one day apart was like 3 autumns. Seeing her run over like a lark, Tang Zheng subconsciously opened his arms and hugged her. At that moment, Yi Dingdang was stunned. This was the first time in history that Tang Zheng took the initiative to be intimate. In the past, it was Yi Dingdang who would occasionally hold his arm. The most intimate time was when the two of them were sleeping on the same bed. Unknowingly, they hugged each other in their sleep, and Tang Zheng's hand grabbed her chest. This time, Tang Zheng's unprecedented action made Yi Dingdang feel like she was in a dream. It was especially unreal. Even Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang, who were standing next to the car, opened their eyes wide in astonishment. Feng Xinyang's eyes lit up. The corner of her mouth hooked up into a smile. She patted her husband's shoulder and urged him, "Get in the car, get in the car. Why are you blindly standing here like a third wheel? Don't ruin our daughter's good time." The two of them quickly got in the car. However, they couldn't help but look at the two through the glass window. The two of them seemed to. Yi Donlei wanted to say something but stopped. Feng Xinyang waved her fist and laughed, as expected of my Feng Xinyang's daughter. As long as the horsepower is full, there is no one who can't be wooed. This little handsome guy has really been taken down by our Dingdang. Really? Yi Tianlei was skeptical. Of course. You just wait and see. I see that the little handsome guy's aura is becoming more and more unpredictable. It seems that he has improved a lot. He really is a genius. I was worried that Dingdang was too wild. Now that she looks more ordinary than the little handsome guy, I was worried that she wouldn't be good enough for him. Feng Xinyang said worriedly. Yi Tianlei comforted, "That's our daughter." How can you say that about your daughter? I think Dingdang is very outstanding. She wouldn't be bad to be with little Tang. Moreover, the matters of the young people are not something we can interfere with. You don't have to worry about it. What do you know? Feng Xinyang glared at her husband. Her eyes turned and she seemed to be deep in thought. Tang Jing gently hugged Yi Dingdang and then let go. He was really moved by Yi Dingdang's excited expression and the deep affection between her eyebrows. Therefore, he couldn't help but make an action. Although Yi Dingdang left his embrace, she felt her heart melt. Her face turned red like an apple and she didn't know what to say. "Get in the car. Your parents are waiting," Tang Jing reminded her. She followed Tang Jing step by step into the car. Her mind was still a little dizzy. Feng Xinyang looked at her daughter who seemed to have lost her soul and sighed. Why didn't this little girl have the demeanor of her mother when she was young? She lost her sense of direction so quickly. Later on, she would have to teach her by example and pass on her experience. "Uncle Yi, Aunt Feng, I have to thank you for this matter." Tang Jing thanked. Yi Donlei said, "You don't have to thank us, that person wasn't killed by you in the first place. I've already seen the forensic report, and according to the description, he didn't die from your heavy blow, but from other reasons. I originally wanted to use the power of the Ye family to suppress this matter, but after knowing the situation and explaining it to the police, they also realized that you weren't the murderer. Therefore, this can't be considered our contribution. Tang Jing shook his head. If this point of suspicion wasn't raised by Yi Tianlei, then the police definitely wouldn't pay attention to it. They would most likely maintain the original decision of treating him as the murderer. Perhaps this was also the real murderer's goal. Little handsome brother, do you know who is the real murderer behind this matter? He dared to touch my son-in-law. He must be tired of living. Feng Xinyang will take his dog head and kick it like a ball. Feng Xinyang said murderously. For the time being, there is a suspect, but the specifics still need to be confirmed. Tang Jing didn't mention the relationship between Yu Zhangkue and Wales. Do you need our help with this matter? Not for the time being. If there is any help, I will definitely tell you. Tang Jing tactfully declined. Remember, we are one family. There is no need to talk about two families. If there is any need, we will do our best. Yi Tianlei promised. Feng Xinyang even more casually patted Tang Jing's shoulder and said, "Little handsome brother, if you are polite with us, then you are treating us as outsiders. I, Feng Xinyang, don't like people who treat us as outsiders." Tang Jing smiled and nodded. "Thank you, Uncle Yi and Aunt Feng." The news of Yi Dingdang leaving the police station safe and sound spread like wildfire, causing a huge uproar on the internet. Many people who were originally worried about Tang Jing cheered and ran to spread the news. Many people also began to question Tang Jing. He clearly killed someone in front of everyone, yet he could still leave the police station so openly. There must be something fishy going on here. Perhaps Tang Jing had some secret identity, which was why he was given such preferential treatment. Immediately, many people on the internet began to criticize and abuse Tang Jing. Tang Jing's image took a 180-degree turn in a few days. He was harshly denounced as an executioner. Many people signed signatures to have him get the hell out of the martial arts convention and turn himself in at the police station. As for the people who supported Tang Jing, they immediately started a war of words with these people, arguing with each other happily. Wales looked at the argument on the internet and the corner of his mouth curled up into a smile. Yu Zhangkue stood to the side in confusion and finally couldn't help but ask, "Mr. Wales, this kid just went in for one night and walked out so openly. We didn't achieve our goal, right?" Wales shook his head mysteriously and said, "No, our goal has been achieved." Yu Zhangkue asked in surprise, "Why? Weren't we going to stop him from participating in the martial arts convention?" "Who said I was going to stop him from participating in the martial arts convention? This is just an appetizer. If this little trick is enough to put him in jail, then you're underestimating him and the Ye family too much," Wales said. Yu Zhangkue was getting more and more confused. What was the other party's goal? Why was it so hard to understand? Wales glanced at him and thought in disdain, this person's brain is full of fat. Other than some low-level power struggles, what else does he know? He doesn't know anything. If it weren't for the fact that I need to borrow his power this time, why would I talk so much nonsense to this stupid pig? It's an insult to my intelligence. What I need is to muddy the waters and let this kid have both praise and blame. I want them to watch how their idol falls step by step. Don't they see him as the symbol of Hua Xia's soul? I want this symbol to shatter into pieces. This process is too wonderful, so wonderful that it makes my heart beat faster. I can't wait. Whale's voice suddenly became a bit louder. Yu Zhangkue felt that it was a bit strange, but he didn't dare to say anything. He could only flatter, "Mr. Wales is indeed brilliant. This time, our cause will be the most successful and greatest cause in history. Chairman Yu, you also played a pivotal role in it. When our young lord comes, I will personally commend your contribution to him." Chapter 360. The young lord of the Rockefeller family will come to this land soon to witness the success of our plan, Wales explained. Yu Zhangkue's eyes gradually glowed. This young lord was the future leader of the Rockefeller family. If he could take this opportunity to build a good relationship with him, Not only him, but also his children and grandchildren would benefit a lot. Mr. Wales, please rest assured. Our plan is flawless. It will definitely succeed. Wales smiled mysteriously and said, "Let's wait and see." When Tang Zheng returned to school, he found out that people on the internet were arguing about him. He laughed it off. This situation was already within his expectations. But what surprised him was that even Qi Shaoan seemed to have heard about the storm he caused. He specifically talked to him and encouraged him. "Tang Zheng, Huaxia martial arts are a part of our traditional culture. In fact, we archaeologists are also the inheritor and promotion of our traditional culture. What you did this time is similar to what we did. So, you must work hard and let the world see the quintessence of our national culture." Tang Zheng was slightly surprised. He immediately nodded and said, "Professor Qi, I'll be busy with the martial arts competition these days. I'm afraid that I'll miss a lot of classes in school." Qi Shaoan smiled disapprovingly and said, "These classes are nothing. With your strength, you can make up for it in the future. When your martial arts competition is over, I'll take you to Dianan." "Oh, why are we going to Dianan? I heard that there's a new archaeological discovery. We archaeologists often have on-site internships, but freshmen don't have this program. But you're my apprentice. Of course, I can't let go of such a good opportunity. Come with me when the time comes," Qi Shaoan explained. Tang Zheng nodded, but he didn't think about what the new archaeological discovery was. The next day, the qualifying match began. It was still at the National Stadium. There were only 20 fighters left. This match would eliminate half of them, leaving only 10 fighters. This competition was even more intense, and foreign players would also be participating. Hence, most of the seats in the stadium were filled. Because of the elimination round, there were deaths. Although the police determined that it was a sudden heart attack, this martial arts convention was still tainted with the smell of blood. When Tang Zheng walked into the stadium, there were two distinct types of shouts in the crowd. One was to support him, and the other was to insult him. Especially the disciple of the deceased yesterday, he couldn't wait to rush up and punch him. Tang Zheng ignored him and quietly walked to the backstage players' lounge. Li Xiaotian and Yi Dingdang followed beside him. The combination of the two beauties made him even more eye-catching, firmly grabbing everyone's attention. These people really can't tell right from wrong. You were clearly wronged, but there are still so many people blaming you and insulting you. Yi Dingdang said indignantly. Their mouths are growing on their bodies. Can you stop them? Li Xiaotian retorted. Yi Dingdang glared. They dare to insult Tang Zheng. I won't let them go. Tang Zheng patted her shoulder and comforted her. Don't be so sensitive. They said it. I won't lose a piece of meat. It's okay. The qualifying match was decided by drawing lots. Huaxia had a total of 8 fighters, while the Western Empire had 6, Island Nation had 3, Korea had 2, and Siam had 1. There were a total of 20 fighters. After the drawing of lots, Tang Zheng drew a Korean man named Pu Jintai. He was very delicate and a little effeminate. Pu Jintai glanced at him and snorted disdainfully. Then he walked to the front of the ring. There were a total of 10 matches in this qualifying match. The Martial Arts Association prepared 10 rings at once, and all the fighters walked onto the ring at once. The audience immediately cheered. Many people shouted the name of Brother Kung Fu. Tang Zheng undoubtedly became the focus of attention. The other Huaxia fighters all looked ashamed. This match was also their home ground, but they didn't have any sense of presence. Especially when they saw the fighters standing on the other side, their legs trembled. The Martial Arts Association gave them a death order. They must survive this qualifying match. Otherwise, it would be too embarrassing. But they were obviously not on the same level as the opponent. How could they survive? Many people felt bitter in their hearts. They wished they could just give up. But in front of thousands of spectators, giving up would probably drown them in saliva. They could only brace themselves and go on. With a ding-dong, the golden gong sounded. The qualifying match began. The crowd suddenly quieted down and held their breaths. The atmosphere in the arena instantly became oppressive. People couldn't help but feel nervous. The reporters aimed their cameras at the ring, clearly recording every moment. The relevant personnel of the martial arts associations sat on the rostrum and watched the match condescendingly. Yu Zhangkue in particular had a sullen face. His eyes swept between the rings and finally locked on to Tang Zheng. The resentment in his eyes flickered. Tang Zheng, I'll let you jump around for a few days. Humph, this time you actually drew Pu Jintai. He is a taekwondo master. Even if you can win, you must suffer a big loss. Most of the audience's attention was attracted by Tang Zheng's ring. After all, this Korean man didn't seem to be a showy fighter. He must have real skills. It was not so easy to win. Bang! With a muffled sound, a fighter in the ring flew out of the ring and hit the ground. He was in a sorry state. He wailed and couldn't move. This person was Hua Xia, and his opponent was a Westerner. In just 10 moves, he made his opponent lose the match. The audience couldn't help but exclaim and gasp. This Westerner was too strong. They weren't even in the same order of magnitude. At the same time, the other Westerners' fighting strength instantly erupted. This time, 4 of Hua Xia's 8 people were fighting Westerners. The other 2 were fighting island nation people, 1 was fighting Siamese Sampa, and the last one was fighting Tang Zheng against Korean man Pu Jintai. So when the Westerner launched his attack, the others also launched their attacks. Shadows flew in the ring, and screams sounded one after another. These screams were all from Hua Xia. Except for Tang Zheng, the gap between the others and their opponents was too big. One of them was grabbed by the hands of a Westerner. Fists rained down on his body. That person didn't have the strength to fight back. However, the Westerner didn't stop. He attacked unscrupulously. In the end, the Hua Xia man fainted and lay on the ground like a pile of mud. Only then did the Westerner stop. Similar scenes played out one after another. These Westerners were high and mighty. They wantonly humiliated Hua Xia's contestants. Even after Hua Xia's contestants took the initiative to admit defeat, the Westerners didn't stop and continued to beat them up. This was like a slap to the face. It was loud and clear on the faces of all Hua Xia's contestants. Many of the audience's cheeks were red with shame. Don't force it. That person begged for mercy, but he still didn't stop. Yes, this is bullying at their doorstep. It's as if they really want to kill him. Yu Zhangkui looked at the ring expressionlessly. As he watched Hua Xia's contestants fall one by one, his heart bloomed with joy. Let the fight be even more brutal and fierce. Let all Hua Xia's contestants lose face and break down mentally. This was the result of his deliberate arrangement. He wanted to play with these Hua Xia's contestants in front of thousands of spectators and make Hua Xia's contestants lose face. Trash, a bunch of trash. What kind of broken martial arts is this? It's worthless and useless. You can't even take a few punches. Angry curses and taunts came from the audience. This caused some of the contestants who were still struggling to hold on to collapse instantly. They were trampled on like mud by their opponents. The island nation, Korean, and Siamese contestants were slightly more restrained than the Westerners. However, everyone's attacks were very sharp. They defeated their opponents in a few moves. Therefore, in a flash, the competition came to an end. Victory and defeat had already been decided on the 7 rings. These were all 7 Hua Xia's rings. Hua Xia's contestants were all defeated, leaving only the arrogant foreigners. In the remaining 3 rings, other than Tang Zheng's, there were 2 other island nation contestants and Westerners fighting. The contestants in these 2 rings were evenly matched. The fight was very exciting, and it was difficult to tell who had the upper hand. The only Hua Xia's ring was particularly eye-catching. Everyone's gaze was focused on it. Tang Zheng naturally saw that Hua Xia's contestants were almost completely wiped out. Now, he was the only one left. Opposite him, Pu Jintai had been waiting for an opportunity to make a move. When he saw Tang Zheng was calm, he was a little nervous and did not dare to make a move rashly. Tang Zheng saw that his compatriots were defeated one by one, and the audience roared, "Idiots, a bunch of idiots. Shameful, too shameful. Is this Hua Xia's martial arts? I said that Hua Xia's martial arts were showy but impractical. This finally proved one point. You think I believe in Hua Xia's martial arts? It's really too disappointing. Many people in the audience felt their hearts bleed. The audience has lost their confidence. Then I will show them the real Hua Xia's martial arts. Tang Zheng moved his head, and his body moved as well. Like a tornado, he rolled toward Pu Jintai. Pu Jintai saw that Tang Zheng had made a move. Instead of retreating, he moved forward. He also roared and kicked with a long leg, bringing with it a whistling sound. Tang Zheng directly ignored his opponent's counterattack. He jumped up and looked down from above. Pu Jintai also jumped up. The wind blew his hair, revealing his handsome face, which was quite attractive. Tang Zheng simply whipped his leg at his opponent, and Pu Jintai also kicked his leg to block. Bang! With a crisp sound, Pu Jintai seemed to have been hit by a meteorite. His leg directly spurted blood, and his long leg bent at a strange angle. His body flew up like a willow catkin and flew directly out of the ring. He flew several meters away before landing heavily. His head hit the ground and he fainted. In one move, Tang Zheng only used one move to defeat hundreds of Taekwondo masters who were not bad in the eyes of others. Suddenly, everyone looked at him in disbelief. Chapter 361. Earth-shattering cheers and applause immediately rang out. Many people shouted the three words, "Brother Kung Fu," in unison. I told you that Hua Xia's martial arts are real skills and not embroidered pillows. Look at that Korean stick, he couldn't even take a single hit and was directly knocked out of the ring. Yeah, that kick was so cool. How did Brother Kung Fu train to be so powerful? The audience discussed animatedly as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Yi Dingdang clenched her fist and waved it a few times. She was so excited that her little face was red. On the other hand, Li Xiaotian was expressionless and said, "If he can't win a battle of this level, then he's not Tang Zheng." Yi Dingdang snorted and did not comment. Suddenly, Li Xiaotian's phone rang. She quickly took the phone and walked to a secluded place. The remaining two local rings quickly determined the winner and loser. The two island nation people and the Westerners had one win and one loss. As a result, there were 5 Westerners who advanced in this round, 2 from the island nation, 1 from Korea, and 1 from Siam. The Hua Xia people who originally had the most people were only left with Tang Zheng. There was only one person left, and compared to the other teams, it was a bit weak. However, the other teams were even more cautious of Tang Zheng, because Tang Zheng's battle just now was simply too sharp. It was fine if he didn't make a move, but once he made a move, it had the power of wind and thunder. He directly KO'd the opponent, leaving the opponent with no way to fight back. The Korean who had lost his teammate walked to Tang Zheng's side with an unfriendly expression and said with a murderous aura, "I will avenge Pu Jintai. I will definitely defeat you. Just you wait." Tang Zheng smiled and said, "I will wait for you. The key is that you have to have the ability. However, I advise you to stay away from me. Otherwise, you will immediately leave this arena. I have never shown mercy to countries that are used to being thieves. I will definitely teach these thieves a lesson." The Korean's face immediately flushed red. The other contestants even sneered. The Koreans did not have a good reputation internationally. Not only did they like to be thieves and steal other people's traditional culture for their own, but they also shamelessly applied for a World Heritage Site. Moreover, they deliberately acted shamelessly in international competitions. Their sinister little tricks were frequently used, making people's jaws drop. One could not help but admire the thickness of their skin. "I will make you pay." The Korean roared and turned around to leave. Sampa also walked over and looked at Tang Zheng face to face and said, "I said that I will challenge you. If I did not fight with you in this competition, then I will challenge you alone after the competition." Tang Zheng's face sank. He retracted his look of contempt and contempt. This Sampa from the beginning had come to challenge him. He was very different from the others, so he would give him the respect he deserved. "As you wish." Sampa nodded his head in satisfaction. His small and thin body walked away with his head held high. The island nation person gave Tang Zheng a kind smile and said, "Congratulations to Mr. Tang Zheng for winning the competition." Tang Zheng coldly snorted and did not reply. These island nation people looked humble and polite on the surface, but in reality, they were incomparably arrogant. The more humble and respectful they were, the more you had to be careful because they could plot against you at any time. Seeing that Tang Zheng's expression was not good, the island nation person smiled and also left. In the end, only a few burly Westerners were left. Their faces were filled with hatred and they indignantly said, "Tang Zheng, you won this round by luck. Wait for us, we will let you know what true strength is. Moreover, we will take revenge for Kyle." The corner of Tang Zheng's mouth raised as he said, "Then we will see when the time comes." The Westerners left in a huff. Tang Zheng went backstage. Yi Dingdang excitedly rushed over and said, "You are really too strong. That move was too cool." Tang Zheng smiled, but he saw Li Xiaotian walk over with a gloomy face. "What's wrong?" Tang Zheng's heart moved, understanding that something must have happened, so he asked. Li Xiaotian glanced at Yi Dingdang and shook his head. Tang Zheng knew that it must be something secret, which was why he did not want to say it in front of Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang was incomparably clever and saw this point at a glance. Although she was very interested in the conversation between the two, she still tactfully said, "I will go to the bathroom. I will be back in a while." After Yi Dingdang left, Tang Zheng asked, "Can you say it now?" Li Xiaotian lowered his voice and said, "The young lord of the Rockefeller family will arrive in Beijing in a few days." The young lord of the Rockefeller family? Tang Zheng was greatly surprised. What is he doing in Beijing? Also, is there anything special about this person? Why are you making such a fuss? In the past few days, the Li Palace has carried out a detailed investigation of the Rockefeller family. Do you know where the most dazzling part of this investigation is? Li Xiaotian asked. Tang Zheng shook his head, indicating that he did not know. The most dazzling part is this young lord. His name is Louis Rockefeller. This person has shown outstanding talent since he was young. He is a genius, proficient in astronomy, geography, philosophy, and art. He is proficient in everything, and is also proficient in 10 languages. Not only that, this person also loves yarn. He joined the army in his teens and has been on a real battlefield. He has experienced the baptism of a hail of bullets, and has also obtained many military medals. He is very famous in the Western Empire, and is the dream lover of many girls. Li Xiaotian introduced. Tang Zheng was flabbergasted. Was this person a monster? How could he be proficient in so many things at such a young age? He was simply a genius among geniuses. Looking at Tang Zheng's expression, the corner of Li Xiaotian's mouth raised a little, and said, "Now you know that there is always someone better than you. We are usually limited to the land of Huaxia, but there are such geniuses in other lands, and we are not aware of them. It is truly a shame." Don't just be ashamed. What is this person's goal? Have you investigated clearly? Tang Zheng changed the topic and asked. Li Xiaotian said, "In all likelihood he is here for the martial arts assembly. This time, the other party's plan is so huge, of course there is no room for the slightest mistake, so they specially sent such a genius to supervise the battle." So what if he is here? I want to see just what kind of strength he can jump up to. Tang Zheng said disapprovingly. Don't boast too early. With a woman's sixth sense, I feel that this young lord is definitely not simple. You must not lower your guard. Li Xiaotian analyzed. Tang Zheng, look who I brought? Suddenly, Yi Dingdang's surprised voice sounded from outside the door. Who did you bring? Tang Zheng asked in astonishment. He walked towards the door in large strides. Suddenly, his eyes flashed with surprise. Looking at the 3 familiar faces, his face immediately blossomed with a smile. Why is it you guys? Why you guys here? Ha, young Master Tang, we missed you. You left ordinary balance for several months and we haven't seen you guys. This time, we heard that you are going to participate in the martial arts assembly and fight the foreigners. Of course we would come to cheer you on. A forthright voice said. The owner of the voice was Lin who had been separated for a long time. Fire Phoenix charmingly said, Young Master Tang, since you came to Beijing, you can't forget about us old friends. We know that you are busy with your studies, so we took the initiative to come see you. Tang Zheng smiled from the bottom of his heart. Of course I want to go see you guys. but there are too many things to do. I can't get away. Of course we understand. But ordinary balance is such a big place. Young Master Tang can't always be a hands-off shopkeeper. Fire Phoenix said. Tang Zheng was really used to being a hands-off shopkeeper. Moreover, he controlled ordinary balance's matters. He wanted to have a stable backing so that his grandfather could live a carefree life in ordinary balance. Therefore, everything was handed over to Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix to manage. He rarely interfered. AI, it's been hard on you guys. What's so hard about us? All of that was fought down by him, young Master Tang. We're just helping you guard it. We're the ones who took advantage of you. Lin Hu said with a smile. Lord Envoy, Yuan has seen you again. Another tall young man was obviously more excited than the others as he looked at Tang Jing respectfully. Tang Jing patted Yuan's shoulder and said, Yuan, how have you been feeling recently? Hu Ji and Sister Phoenix have taught me a lot of things. Yuan said. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix immediately waved their hands and said, Yuan is too modest, how could we teach him anything? He was the one who gave us a huge shock, and understood that there was always someone better than him. Yuan is truly a martial arts genius, and in just a few months, he has already reached the 9th grade of body refining stage. Tang Zheng could already tell that Yuan's cultivation was at the 9th grade of qi refining and not the 9th grade of body refining, because he was a cultivator. However, Yuan had only left the 10,000 huge mountains for a few months, and he already had such a cultivation level. In fact, this was not hard to understand. In the past, although there were restrictions in the 10,000 huge mountains and the people of the Witch clan could not cultivate, their bodies had already stored a lot of energy and huge potential. When they could cultivate, all of this would explode out, which was why they had such a terrifying cultivation speed. Lord Envoy, Yuan is too stupid, he is not doing well enough. In the future, I will need Lord Envoy's guidance. Yuan said sincerely. You're already very powerful. Tang Zheng said with certainty. After Yuan received the praise, he immediately revealed a brilliant smile, just like a pure child receiving the praise of an adult. Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian both looked at Yuan in shock. The two of them did not know Yuan before, but hearing that he had such a huge breakthrough in just a few months, it was truly inconceivable. Why did Tang Jing have so many freaks by his side? His cultivation speed was so fast that it did not seem like a normal person. Tang Jing glanced at Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian's suspicious expressions. Tang Jing said loudly, let's leave this place first, I'll treat you to a meal. A young Master Tang has to treat us to a meal, and we have to get drunk. Lin Hu agreed. Don't say such big words. Young Master Tang is not drunk even after 1,000 cups. If you compete with him in drinking, you can only hide under the table. Fire Phoenix teased. Chapter 362. Although Tang Jing had been in the capital for a few months, he was not too familiar with it. Especially when it came to finding a place to eat, he did not have any experience. In the end, he decided to go to Li Hongqing's private restaurant. It was classy and unique. When they arrived at the private restaurant, they were stopped by the waiter. The private restaurant had to be reserved, so Tang Zheng and his group had no way of entering without a reservation. Seeing that, Lin Hu flew into a rage. What kind of shop is this? I came to your shop to eat because I think highly of you, yet you dare to stop us. However, the waiter was not afraid. He politely said, I'm sorry, sir. This is our rule. If you come to eat again, please make a reservation in advance. I'm going to eat. Let's see what you can do to me. When Lin Hu was in the ordinary balance, he had never suffered such grievances. Seeing that young Master Tang had also suffered such grievances, of course he had to stand up for him. He thought to himself that it seemed that young Master Tang was not doing too well in the capital, and should he pull a group of brothers to the capital to expand his territory? Huzi, don't be so noisy. Since we didn't make a reservation, let's go somewhere else to find food. AI, today is really embarrassing. I invited you guys to eat but was rejected. Tang Jing said with a bitter smile. Young Master Tang, it's just a meal. I don't believe that I won't be able to enter this shop today. Fire Phoenix's temper also flared up. She decided to vent her anger for young Master Tang today. Lin Hu nodded. Young Master Tang, don't worry about it. If we don't eat this meal today, we will not rest. How could Tang Jing not understand their intentions? However, he still had some relationship with Li Hongqing and Qin Badian, so he did not want to make things difficult for them. Before he could persuade him again, he saw Yi Yuan rush in like an arrow. The waiter had no way of stopping him. She had worked here for so many years, but no one had ever dared to cause trouble here. Today, the sun had risen from the west, and there was actually someone who dared to cause trouble here. However, she did not panic and immediately pressed the alarm in her hand. In the blink of an eye, a few people rushed out and stopped Yi Yuan. Yi Yuan did not say a word. He raised his hand and struck. He was already extremely strong, and now that he had cultivated, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. Those few people could not stop him at all, and not long later, they were all knocked to the ground. The waiter was stunned. Who are these people? They were so fierce and dared to come here to cause trouble. Did they eat the guts of a leopard? Tang Zheng wanted to stop him, but it was already too late. Seeing Yi Yuan's lightning-fast attack, he could only shake his head and laugh bitterly. Yi Yuan definitely thought that these people dared to look down on him, which was why he wanted to vent his anger for him. Yuan, good job. What kind of lousy restaurant is this? I'll tear it down one day. Lin, who was not afraid of making a big deal out of it, and said loudly. The commotion here had already attracted the attention of many customers, and they all ran out to see what was strange. Those who could come here to spend money were not nouveau riche, but people who truly had power, wealth, and power. Seeing these people directly make a move, many people started to mutter, saying that there was going to be a good show to watch today. This meal was worth it. They had never seen anyone come here to cause trouble. This time it was an eye-opener. Many people were gloating. These people were definitely outsiders, daring to cause trouble here. Even though they were making a ruckus now, they probably wouldn't even be able to cry later. Who wants to tear down my shop? Li Hongqing slowly walked out, frowned, and asked coldly. I'm going to tear down your shop, how about it? Lin Hu also rushed in. You, watch me break your bones later. Li Hongqing said sternly. Daring to cause trouble in her restaurant, he was truly tired of living. It had to be known that even Chu Xiaofeng did not dare to flare up here when he was defeated. It could be seen how intimidating Li Hongqing and Qin Badian were. All right, then let's see who will tear down who. Beyond, do it. Lin, who had been licking blood from his blade all year round, how could he be afraid of the threat of a woman? Tang Zheng knew that if he did not stop them, they would make a big deal out of it. So he immediately rushed in and shouted, Stop! Lin Hu and Yi Yuan stopped at the same time. Young Master Tang, how can we not tear down this kind of shop? How dare they not let you in? Tearing it down is letting them off easy. Stop talking. Tang Zheng's face darkened, and Lin Hu immediately kept quiet. Tang Zheng smiled at Li Hongqing and said, Boss Li, I'm sorry, these are my brothers. We didn't make an appointment just now, so we were blocked outside. My brothers are a little angry. Li Hongqing was originally filled with anger, but when she saw Tang Zheng, her anger disappeared like smoke in thin air. Her pair of phoenix eyes blossomed with light, and her anger turned into joy as she said, Tang Zheng, you are treating me like an outsider. It is my honor that you came to my shop. How can I reject you and your friends? It is the people below who do not know you, so they are not sensible. Remember this in the future. When young Master Tang comes, there is no need to make an appointment, and all fees are free. When the others heard this, they all revealed a look of shock, especially the few experienced waiters who all looked at Tang Zheng and said in their hearts that they must remember this face. While others use their cards to eat, he only needs to use his face to eat. The other customers were also surprised. Just who was this person to have such great face? Lin Hu, Fire Phoenix, and the rest looked at both sides suspiciously. What was going on? Weren't they not allowed to enter just now? How did he become a distinguished guest now? Fire Phoenix had an idea and immediately guessed the reason. She said in a low voice, Brother Hu, this woman is not simple, but she gave young Master Tang so much face. It seems like young Master Tang is not doing too badly in the capital. The two of them were worried that Tang Zheng would be wronged in the capital. After all, the various powers in the capital were gathered, and Tang Zheng did not have much power of his own, so it was inevitable that he would be bullied. This time, they came to the capital with another plan, and that was to discuss with Tang Zheng whether or not they could send some brothers to the capital to serve Tang Zheng and solve some troublesome matters. Boss Li, today's flood rushed to the Dragon King Temple and disturbed your business. I apologize on behalf of my brothers. Tang Zheng said. Li Hongqing immediately pretended to be angry and said, Tang Zheng, are you slapping my face? My life was saved by you. If it wasn't for you, I would have gone to the Hall of Hell to report. Saying these words makes us seem distant. Since they are your brothers, then they are my, Li Hongqing's, honored guests. You are welcome to come often. Come, let's talk in the private room. The few of them arrived at a huge and unique small courtyard. Inside, there was an antique room. This was the most luxurious private room in the private restaurant. Remember, in the future, when young Master Tang comes, bring him to this private room. Li Hongqing instructed the waiter. The waiter was secretly shocked. This private room was not something that could be booked with money. Moreover, it was not open to ordinary guests. This young man's identity was too amazing to be able to make the boss value him so highly. Boss Li, today we brothers were reckless and offended your restaurant. Please forgive us. In a moment, we will punish ourselves with 3 cups of wine. Lin, who was an upright person. Since the other party gave Tang Zheng so much face, and the two sides seemed to have a good relationship, then of course he had to do something. Li Hongqing smiled and said, This brother is too serious. It is our restaurant service that is not good enough. It is not your fault. In a moment, I will punish myself with 3 cups of wine to apologize to young Master Tang. Moreover, I have not thanked young Master Tang for saving my life last time. This time, I hope that young Master Tang will give me a chance to express my gratitude. It was just a small matter. Tang Zheng waved his hand. Boss Li, there are other guests. You can go do your work. Don't just attend to us. Today I will not attend to other guests. I will specifically attend to your table. Everyone is a friend, so this meal must be good. It was difficult to refuse such kindness. Tang Zheng had no choice but to accept this kindness. The few of them talked and laughed. The atmosphere was very lively. Li Hongqing was a wonderful person. She treated people as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. Gradually, the two sides became friends. Li Hongqing's gaze swept over Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix from time to time. She thought that these two were people of the underworld, but they were so respectful towards Tang Zheng and even called him young Master Tang. It was really strange. Could it be that Tang Zheng was also a person of the underworld? Because of her husband, Qin Batian, Li Hongqing did not dislike people of the underworld. Instead, she was somewhat close to them. This Tang Zheng was becoming more and more unfathomable. Qin Batian once said that Tang Zheng was a person worth befriending. Since that was the case, then she should deepen the relationship between them in the future. Young Master Tang, I heard that you participated in the martial arts tournament this time. Let me give you a toast and wish you victory. The champion will definitely be you. Li Hongqing raised her cup and said. She also followed the others and called him young Master Tang. This showed respect and did not seem distant. Thank you for your auspicious words, Boss Li. The two of them downed the cup in one gulp and Li Hongqing said, The champion is definitely in young Master Tang's bag, but this martial arts tournament has been held for many years, and everyone knows that it is a competition for the Martial Arts Association to trick the layman. Why would young Master Tang be interested in this? Of course, Tang Zheng could not say that it was to destroy Rockefeller and Yu Zhangkui's scheme. He smiled and said, Bored, find something to do. But this time, young Master Tang's move was very clever. Now you are a famous person. Many people know you, and you even have a lot of supporters. Li Hongqing said. As soon as he finished speaking, a commotion suddenly came from outside. Li Hongqing, what exactly do you mean by this? We obviously booked this private room beforehand. Why did you give it to someone else? I want to see who has such great face. An angry shout rang out, followed by the sound of noisy footsteps approaching from afar. Bang! The door to the private room was pushed open. Yi Yuan immediately stood up and rushed to the door. He stared at the door like a tiger eyeing its prey, as if he could explode and injure someone at any time. Scram! The person outside shouted angrily and slapped Yi Yuan with his palm. Yi Yuan did not move an inch and pushed his palm out. Bang! With a muffled sound, Yi Yuan retreated a small step, while the other party retreated a large step. His face turned pale with fright as he exclaimed, "Who are you?" Yi Yuan coldly snorted, but did not comment. In his eyes, there was only Lord Envoy Tang Jing, and if he dared to disturb Tang Jing's meal, then he would naturally be an enemy. Chapter 363. Li Hongqing, is this how you treat your guests? An angry shout came from outside the door. Li Hongqing had already stood up and smiled apologetically at Tang Jing and said, "Young Master Tang, I will go and take care of it first." "It's a ploy." Tang Jing smiled and nodded, indicating that she could do as she pleased. He could already tell who the voice belonged to: Chu Xiaofeng, the young master of the Chu family who had one of his arms crippled by Tang Jing. "Don't let some buzzing flies ruin your mood." Tang Jing called out to everyone. Seeing that, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix laughed and toasted each other, as if nothing had happened. Yi Yuan glared fiercely at Chu Xiaofeng, then returned to his seat. "Child Feng, why are you so angry?" Li Hongqing closed the door and smiled at Chu Xiaofeng. During this period of time, Chu Xiaofeng had stopped a lot and did not show his face often. "Li Hongqing, what do you mean by this? I brought my friend here to take care of your business. Why did you give this room to someone else?" Chu Xiaofeng asked sternly. He originally did not plan to come here, but he could not resist the request of the guests, so he could only do this. This time, Li Hongqing had embarrassed him in front of his guests. How could he tolerate it? "Oh, Child Feng, when did you book this private room? Why didn't I know?" Li Hongqing asked without batting an eyelid. 8 Chu Xiaofeng's face turned cold and said, "Do I still need to reserve it? In the past, I used this private room when I came here, so of course I used this private room this time as well." "Hee, Child Feng, I, Li Hongqing, open my door to do business, so of course I pay attention to fairness. I used to use this private room when I came here, but this time, there are important guests who arrived first, so of course I would let them use it first. I hope Child Feng can understand." Li Hongqing said politely. "Understand?" Chu Xiaofeng flew into a rage. "What the hell do I understand? Li Hongqing, you are purposely making me lose face. Don't blame me for being impolite. I want to see which esteemed guest it is today." Chu Xiaofeng was used to being arrogant and despotic. Other than suffering a huge loss at the hands of Tang Jing, he had never tasted defeat, so of course he would not be afraid. Seeing that the other party's arrogance was getting fiercer and fiercer, Li Hongqing frowned and said, "Child Feng, are you really going to cause trouble here?" "Who said I'm causing trouble? I just want to see who's so important to occupy my private room." Chu Xiaofeng strode past Li Hongqing. Li Hongqing was not a martial artist, so how could she stop him? With a creak, Chu Xiaofeng pushed open the door. "Who is it? You dare to snatch my private room? Stand out and walk 2 laps, let this young master take a look." Chu Xiaofeng said proudly. "Stop, we're eating." Lin Hu and Yuan stood up at the same time and roared while glaring at each other covetously. Chu Xiaofeng glanced at the two of them, his gaze especially lingering on Yuan. This person was young, to be able to withstand a punch from him, he was definitely not simple. However, this was the capital, and he did not put the other party in his eyes. These people were definitely country bumpkins from other places, and even he, the Child Feng, did not know them. A few foreigners dare to challenge this young master? Do you believe that this young master will throw you out to feed the dogs? After confirming that the other party was a foreigner, Chu Xiaofeng became even more arrogant. Lin Hu and Yi Yuan stood up and covered Tang Jing and the others, so for a moment, Chu Xiaofeng did not see Tang Jing and Yi Dingdang. How awe-inspiring. I remember that your Tibetan Mastiff is already dead. Could it be that you went to find another one to die? A low, disdainful laugh sounded out. Chu Xiaofeng was shocked. He immediately recognized this voice. He would never forget this voice in his entire life. This voice was like his nightmare. Ever since he met the owner of this voice, his smooth-sailing life had become incomparably bumpy, as if he had fallen into the valley of his life. He had the urge to run away, but he forcefully stopped himself from doing so. However, his arrogant expression had disappeared into thin air and was replaced by resentment, hatred, and fear. Lin Hu and the others curiously looked at Chu Xiaofeng's change in expression. They did not know why he had such a big reaction when he heard young Master Tang's voice. "Tang Zheng, it's you," Chu Xiaofeng said while gnashing his teeth. Tang Zheng also stood up, looked at Chu Xiaofeng calmly, and said, "It's me. Didn't you want to throw us out to feed the dogs? Do it, I'm waiting for you." Tang Zheng's tone was calm, but it gave Chu Xiaofeng an invisible pressure. However, he did not dare to make a move, because he believed that as long as he made a move, Tang Zheng's counterattack would definitely be like a storm, causing him to have no room to resist. At that time, the one who would lose face and suffer losses would be him. He didn't want his other arm to be crippled as well. "Tang Zheng, just you wait. You can't continue to be so arrogant," Chu Xiaofeng said angrily. "How can I be as arrogant as your Chu family's young master? It's just a meal, yet you want to kill people. Hee, the Chu family's ability is really great. I've seen it again today." Tang Zheng mocked. Chu Xiaofeng's face flushed red, but he did not dare to say anything. He coldly snorted and turned to leave. At this time, a few voices came from outside the door. "Boss Li, what's going on?" This voice was very gentle, like warm jade. "Young Master Song, why are you here?" Li Hongqing asked in surprise. "Xiaofeng and I invited a friend to eat." "What's going on?" "A small problem, it's been solved." "Young Master Feng, please come out. Don't disturb my guest's meal," Li Hongqing said. Chu Xiaofeng turned around and left. Seeing the person who came, his face could not help but become even more unsightly. He said angrily, "What bad luck, Song Yu, Mr. Wales? Let's change to another restaurant." "What happened?" Song Yu asked curiously. "I met an annoying person," Chu Xiaofeng said with a frown. Song Yu was slightly surprised. There were not many people who could make Chu Xiaofeng so angry. He was really curious about who was sitting inside. Tang Zheng also heard the commotion outside, especially the two names Song Yu and Wales. His heart moved. He and Li Xiaotian looked at each other, as if they had a tacit understanding. Li Xiaotian nodded slightly. Tang Zheng understood and walked towards the door. "Wales, could it be that person from the Rockefeller family?" Tang Zheng and Li Xiaotian had been investigating which family in the capital Wales was cooperating with. This time, they seemed to have found some clues by chance. When he walked to the door, he happened to see Song Yu and that Wales was indeed the person who was conspiring with Yu Zhangkue. It really is him. Could it be that the Rockefeller family has joined forces with the Song and Chu family? Tang Zheng was shocked. This matter was most likely true. He just did not expect the Rockefeller family to have such a big plan that even these two great families were included. The Rockefeller family is indeed scheming big. Even these two great families have joined forces. No wonder their young lord would personally come to Huaxia. The Song and Chu family have joined forces again. Originally, the Chu family and Yan family were very close. But after the battle at Longxiang Mountain, a crack appeared in the relationship between these two families. The Chu family turned around and joined forces with the Song family. Tang Zheng was awestruck. This was really big news. The Song and Chu family joining forces could make up for each other's shortcomings and contend against the Ye family and Yan family. Especially the Ye family. The Ye family had changed too much in this half a year and displayed a lot of strength. No one dared to underestimate them anymore. Song Yu saw Tang Zheng, who walked out with a glance. A strange look flashed through his eyes and he immediately revealed a brilliant smile. "Tang Zheng, so it was you who was here." "Yes, young Master Song. Is this your friend?" Tang Zheng pointed at Wales and asked. "Yes, this is Mr. Wales. He is a friend of Xiaofeng and I," Song Yu said with a smile. He and Chu Xiaofeng were two completely different people. Chu Xiaofeng was arrogant and despotic while Song Yu was gentle like jade. He was an elegant young master. Wales was also sizing up Tang Zheng. he said with a smile. This must be the Kung Fu bro whose name has recently shaken the capital? Oh, Wales has also heard of his name? Song Yu asked curiously. Of course. Kung Fu bro's martial arts are not bad. He has defeated many opponents. Wales praised, not knowing whether it was sincere or not. Tang Zheng could not see through Wales. He only looked at him expressionlessly. Chu Xiaofeng heard this and curled his lips. He said disdainfully, "Bullshit Kung Fu bro. He only knows how to hype things up. This is a common method used by rascals. It can't be used in the Grand Hall." Tang Zheng asked without batting an eyelid, "Is that so? I wonder how it can be considered to be used in the Grand Hall?" Tang Zheng, don't be so proud. You think that you can strut around just because you won that whatever martial arts convention? Who do you think you are? It's not like you don't know how strong those contestants are. What kind of ability is it for you to win against them? Chu Xiaofeng mocked. Tang Zheng laughed unconcernedly. This is not considered much of an ability, but there are people who can't even beat me, so they are not considered much of an ability. I'm afraid they won't be able to enter the Grand Hall. However, Chu Xiaofeng was obviously not a match for Tang Zheng. Hearing this, he was about to flare up, but was stopped by Song Yu's gaze. Coincidentally, the others also walked out of the private room. Looking at the subtle situation, Yi Yuan's killing intent soared, while Lin Hu and the Fire Phoenix did not show any signs of weakness and glared at each other. Song Yu thoughtfully looked at these people, especially at Yi Dingdang's body. He had a good impression of Yi Dingdang, but the falling flower was in love with the heartless flowing water. Yi Dingdang did not even consider him, making him taste the taste of failure for the first time in his life. However, he concealed his emotions very well and did not reveal them. Instead, he nodded politely at Yi Dingdang and smiled. "Ding, a long time no see." Yi Dingdang was expressionless and did not say a word. Song Yu smiled embarrassedly and said, "Mr. Wales, I know of another place. The food there is very special. Why don't we go there?" Wales said with a smile, "All right, I'll listen to young Master Song's arrangements." Song Yu nodded at Tang Zheng and the others, and walked out with large strides. Chu Xiaofeng snorted coldly, glared at Tang Zheng unwillingly, and quickly followed. "Young Master Tang, don't let them ruin your mood. Let's go in and continue eating." Li Hongqing greeted warmly. However, when everyone sat back down, the atmosphere clearly changed and became serious. Lin, who had seen Song Yu before and knew that he was a member of the Song family. He could not help but be a little worried and asked, "Young Master Tang, there won't be any trouble if we provoke the Song family, right?" Tang Zheng gave a mysterious smile, indicating that there was nothing wrong with it. Chapter 364. Hearing Whale's confident tone, Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng were surprised at the same time. What a schemer! Chu Xiaofeng had a great feeling of being a confidant as he spoke with a common enemy. Mr. Wales is right. This kid is a troublemaker. We must get rid of him, no matter the cost. Song Yu looked at Wales suspiciously and asked, "Why do you say that, Mr. Wales?" Wales pretended to be solemn and said, "Although I didn't know this person before, my intuition tells me that this person will definitely be a stumbling block for your future achievements." "You seem to know something?" Wales smiled mysteriously and said, "I know that this person is the Ye family's future son-in-law. Think about it, his relationship with the Ye family isn't shallow, and he has such a deep background, yet he wants to show his face in the martial arts convention. What do you think his intentions are?" Chu Xiaofeng said without hesitation, "Of course he wants to be famous. Although he's the Ye family's son-in-law, that's a status obtained through a woman after all. This isn't something honorable for a man. That's why he wants to use the martial arts convention to increase his fame." Wales nodded and said, "Then why is he doing this?" This is the petty thoughts of a grassroots person like him. He wants to obtain more power and greater fame is an element of." Chu Xiaofeng said disdainfully. Wales smiled and didn't say anything else. He looked at Song Yu instead. Song Yu's brows gradually furrowed as she pondered. After a long time, she said, "Mr. Wales means that he's planning something big?" Wales gave a thumbs up and praised, "Young Master Song is indeed smart. This person did so many things for the sake of power and fame. It can be seen that he's a person blinded by greed. This kind of person also has the support of the Ye family. He'll definitely be a great threat to the Song and Chu families in the future. Chu Xiaofeng immediately said, "He's a great threat to us right now. It's just that we haven't done anything to him due to various reasons." Song Yu glanced at Chu Xiaofeng. Chu Xiaofeng immediately fell silent, as if he realized that he'd said too much. The two of you know the principle of nurturing a tiger is inviting calamity, right? Tang Jing is a tiger. If he wins in this martial arts convention, then his prestige will definitely reach an unprecedented height. You all know what he says, saying that he wants to let the world see the strength of Hua Xia's martial arts. In fact, these are all excuses. He just wants to raise the banner of righteousness, so that the masses who don't know the truth will believe him, Wales analyzed. Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng's eyes lit up. Chu Xiaofeng couldn't help but say, "Damn, he's really too insidious. I was wondering what was the point of participating in the martial arts circle convention. It turns out that he actually hid such a cunning intention." Song Yu was also shocked. He usually prided himself on being smart, but he didn't see such a deep meaning in the complicated chaos. After Whale's pointers, he felt like he could see the blue sky after the clouds were cleared. He's kidnapping public opinion to gain prestige. In the future, he definitely won't just be plotting against the Ye family, but also other big families, right? Song Yu asked. Wales was secretly delighted. He'd fooled them with just a few words. These aristocratic children thought they were smart, but they didn't know that they were being played in the palm of his hand. Wales pretended to have a solemn expression and nodded. Young Master Song's words are very true. Chu Xiaofeng's eyes instantly widened as he exclaimed, "What, he's actually plotting against other families?" Once this kind of grassroots tasted the sweetness of power, they'll do everything they can to obtain even greater power. This martial arts circle convention is only his first step. He'll definitely have other methods in the future. If we don't kill him in the cradle, it won't be easy to get rid of him when he becomes powerful in the future. Wales advised earnestly. Song Yu was already moved. He couldn't help but recall the series of events after Tang Jing appeared. His originally easy engagement was ruined, and the dying Ye family actually regained a second spring. Now, they had a strong momentum and were faintly showing signs of surpassing other families. This was a very bad phenomenon. So the crux of all this was on Tang Jing. Only by getting rid of him would the Ye family decline. "I wonder what brilliant plan Mr. Wales has?" Song Yu asked. "Of course it's to kill him without knowing why," Wales said. Song Yu shook his head awkwardly. "No, this won't work. If they could kill Tang Jing like this, they would have done it long ago. Why wait until now?" Killing Tang Jing wasn't difficult, but the key was to make his Grandmaster Realm Master behind him speechless. Wales pretended to think for a long time before he said, "Perhaps the martial arts convention this time is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Since we can't kill him secretly, then we'll kill him openly. Moreover, we'll do it in front of everyone, so no one will be able to find fault with it." Song Yu's eyes lit up, while Chu Xiaofeng said gloomily, "How do we do that? Those contestants can't kill him with their strength." Wales looked at Song Yu and said with a smile, "I think young Master Song has already thought of a way." Song Yu laughed. "Yes, this time Tang Jing will die without a doubt." Tang Jing didn't know that someone was plotting to get rid of him. He arranged for Lin Hu and the others to stay in a hotel. They would only go to ordinary balance after the competition ended. They had already reported to him about the situation in the ordinary balance. Right now, the ordinary balance was very stable. With their control, there were very few vicious cases. Moreover, with the help of the government, they were like fish in water, and money was rolling in. "Young Master Tang, I see that the capital is so big. Why don't I call some brothers over and we can also take over a piece of land? The benefits will be even greater than the ordinary balance." Lin Hu said, rather moved. "Hu Zi, your appetite is getting bigger and bigger." Tang Jing laughed. Lin Hu scratched his head and said, "Following young Master Tang, of course I have to set my sights further." Fire Phoenix joked, "Young Master Tang, don't listen to his nonsense. I think he's just itching for a fight. He has no opponents in the ordinary balance, so he wants to come to the capital to fight. Lin, whose thoughts were seen through, but he didn't say anything and said embarrassedly, "The ordinary balance is really too unchallenging. I used to think that I would like that kind of life, but now I realize that that kind of life is too dull. It's still refreshing to follow young Master Tang and bravely kill the enemy." "Huh, you even have a fighting gene," Tang Jing joked. "Phoenix, don't talk about me. Don't you often say that if you follow young Master Tang to fight, you'll have more energy?" Lin Hu said. Fire Phoenix laughed and didn't deny it. Tang Jing looked at the members of his original team and his heart moved. Without a doubt, he had the Witch clan as a strong army, so these two people's strength was relatively weak. However, they were the first to follow him and were very loyal to him, so Tang Jing couldn't just watch them do nothing. Fighting and killing temporarily don't have anything to do with you guys. Moreover, the capital is under the feet of the emperor. How could he tolerate such chaos in society? You guys can forget about replicating the glorious achievements of the ordinary balance," Tang Jing said with a smile. The two people's expressions dimmed as they bitterly smiled and said, "Then it seems that we can only retire in the ordinary balance. Don't just think about fighting and killing, can't you guys do a little business? I think Fire Phoenix's construction company is doing pretty well," Tang Jing said. Fire Phoenix shook her head and bitterly smiled. "Young Master Tang, don't laugh at me. My little ability is nothing. I can only make a small fuss in the ordinary balance. If you really want me to do business, I really don't have that kind of ability." "It can't be. I see that your company is doing well in the ordinary balance," Tang Jing said in disbelief. "I'm just playing on the edge. I'm still far from a real construction company," Fire Phoenix said. "Staying in the underworld isn't a long-term plan. Moreover, you have to give the people behind you a chance to stand out. I want you guys to change your profession. I don't know if you guys are interested?" Tang Jing asked. This was an idea he came up with on the spot, but this idea was very necessary. "Young Master Tang, you want us to change our profession?" The two people were shocked. Tang Jing nodded his head. After all, fighting and killing can't last forever. The two people looked at each other at the same time. They had never thought of this problem before because once they stepped into this pool of water, it would be difficult to get out. Even when Huang Si had washed his hands of the underworld, he still didn't leave the underworld. "Young Master Tang, do we really want to change our profession?" Lin Hu asked doubtfully. Tang Jing nodded his head. "Yes, you guys should think about what you're interested in. We don't have much experience. Haha, people aren't born with everything. Everything is accumulated bit by bit. What are you afraid of?" Tang Jing laughed loudly. The schedule for the martial arts conference was very tight. The second day was the second round of the promotion competition. Out of the 10 contestants, 5 winners would be decided. There were even more spectators today. When Tang Jing appeared on stage, the crowd exploded with thunderous cheers. This time, there were still 5 matches going on at the same time. They drew lots to decide their opponents. In the end, Tang Jing faced a Westerner called Taka. This person's bones were thick, and his temples were bulging. His clenched fists were like iron hammers, showing off his powerful strength. The audience held their breaths, looking forward to this match. However, no one noticed that there were a few special people in the audience, Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng. The two of them stared at Tang Jing. Chu Xiaofeng sneered, "This kid can really fight. If we don't use this method, these contestants won't be his match." Song Yu smiled mysteriously. "After the martial arts conference, this big problem will disappear from this world. Young Master Song, this way wouldn't you be able to hug a beauty and pick this fresh flower, Yi Dingdang?" Chu Xiaofeng laughed evilly. Song Yu said, "In the matters between men and women, both sides must be willing. I don't like to use force." Young Master Song, actually using force has a different taste. As a person, you have to change your taste. Otherwise, if you eat the same taste every day, wouldn't it be boring? Chapter 365. Taka looked at Tang Jing and grinned. He said in a Huaxia accent, "Today, I will take revenge for Kyle." Kill. Taka turned into a shadow and appeared in front of Tang Zheng in the next second. He used both his hands and legs and attacked from top to bottom. Tsu 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 tsu, this person was stronger than Kyle by a level. Tang Zheng reacted quickly and immediately counterattacked. In the previous round, the Korean contestant could not withstand a single punch from him. This time, Taka was obviously stronger. Tang Zheng punched out and his opponent dodged it. Then, the shadows of his legs and fists intertwined and attacked Tang Zheng like a storm. Tang Zheng was like a small boat in the middle of the ocean. He could be destroyed at any time. Many of the audience's hearts were in their throats. Even though they were far away, they could feel the murderous aura. Tang Zheng could feel it more clearly. However, it was nothing to him. Tang Zheng still punched out and all the shadows of his fists and legs were completely covered by Tang Zheng's fist. In an instant, his fist seemed to have enlarged. In fact, this was an illusion. His fist was still the same size as before. There was no change at all. However, the fist aura on his fist surged and made people tremble in fear. Taka's heart skipped a beat as he stared at the fist that was slowly approaching him. It was as if an angry dragon had emerged from the bottom of the sea and soared into the sky. Boom! With a loud sound, Taka's shadows of his legs and fists disappeared. Everything was calm and peaceful. Tang Zheng's fist also disappeared as if it had never appeared. His hands hung naturally by his sides. At that moment, he did not have any imposing aura. He was just like an ordinary college student. The spectators were completely silent. Everyone was very puzzled. Just what had happened? Why didn't his punch have much of an explosive reaction? Tang Zheng smirked and stared at Taka. Taka's face had completely changed. There was no trace of blood and he was as pale as a piece of white paper. Suddenly, the light in his eyes dimmed. He closed his eyes and fell to the ground. His huge body hit the arena and shook a few times. What? The winner was decided just like that. Was it that simple? The audience was shocked. They could not understand the essence of the fight. Why was Tang Zheng's fight so short? There were no flashy moves. The audience did not even see Tang Zheng's fist hit Taka's body. They suspected that it was a fake fight. Taka did not stand up again. The referee announced that Tang Zheng was the winner. The audience only then did they wake up and cheer. The other arenas were not as fast as the previous day's fight. Without Hua Xia and the other contestants, they were all people with real skills. When they fought, it was much more exciting than Tang Zheng's fight. Tang Zheng was not in a hurry to leave. Instead, he watched the other contestants fight with interest. Among them, there were 3 contestants that attracted the most attention. One of them was a Westerner. He was very tall and looked like a giant. He had a lot of hair on his face. His opponent was from an island nation. This person's clothes were tattered and his skin was lacerated. There were many scratches on his face. This person's fingernails are very sharp, just like a sharp blade. Even though this Japanese is agile and has been dodging, he still isn't this Westerner's opponent. I think he won't be able to last more than 10 moves. Tang Zheng analyzed. As expected, after 9 moves, the Westerner grabbed the island nation's opponent. Like leading a chicken, he bent his knee and knocked on the opponent's back. Gotcha! The island nation's opponent's spine was broken. He let out a heart-wrenching scream and softly fell down. This Westerner is a strong opponent. If I meet him, I must be careful of his claws. The other island nation's kung fu was not weak. With the help of his flexible body, he greeted the Westerner. After a few rounds, the Westerner fell to the ground with a loud bang. This person's kung fu is similar to Sawada Ichiro. He is not a good person. Tang Zheng's gaze once again shifted towards Song Ba. This dark and skinny little man was like a black bolt of lightning, striking out with a fierce aura on the stage. His opponent was completely unable to resist and was finally kicked off the stage with a whip kick. In comparison, Tang Zheng's fight was the worst to watch because he KO'd his opponent with one punch. Ordinary people did not even have time to react. However, in front of experts, Tang Zheng's performance was remarkable. In the audience, Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng watched Tang Zheng's fight without blinking. The two of them looked at each other speechlessly. This brat's kung fu has increased by a lot. Chu Xiaofeng sighed in disbelief. Song Yu's expression was also a bit unsightly. On the contrary, Qin Lao's eyes lit up. He said in a deep voice, "Young master, Tang Zheng's kung fu is increasing at a speed that is rarely seen in the world. From what I know, other geniuses have not cultivated as fast as him. In the future, I'm afraid it is not impossible for him to reach the great scholar realm." Ever since he met Tang Zheng, Song Yu had let Qin Lao follow him to guard against any possible dangers. Qin Lao was a 5th grade natal stage cultivator. Naturally, his vision was more unique. Chu Xiaofeng said unwillingly, "I don't know what kind of freak he is. How can he be so terrifying?" Qin Lao sighed. "If young master did not already have a plan, even if I had to risk my old life, I would still get rid of this brat. In the future, he will definitely be a big problem for our Song family. If we don't get rid of him today, the Song family will definitely fall into huge trouble in the future." Qin Lao made a solemn vow which made people's hearts uncontrollably heavy. Song Yu did not even say a word. His eyes flickered and no one knew what he was thinking. On the contrary, Chu Xiaofeng said with a relaxed expression, "Qin Lao, no matter how powerful this brat is, he won't be able to live for more than a few days. The next match will be when he loses his life. Let him jump around for a few days first." "Young master, will there be any flaws in your plan?" Qin Lao asked worriedly. Song Yu raised his eyes and looked at Tang Zheng from afar. His killing intent burst forth, "Absolutely safe." Tang Zheng felt a wave of killing intent rush towards him. He raised his head to look, but found that it had disappeared without a trace. The second round of the promotion competition had ended. Huaxia, Western Asia, Island Nation, Korea, and Siam each had one contestant left. The next round of the competition would be held tomorrow. However, because there were 5 contestants left, one of them would not need to participate in the competition and would directly advance. However, this needed to be decided by drawing lots. Therefore, after the competition, the contestants began to draw lots. Without a doubt, this lucky person would be able to save a lot of energy for the next battle. The results of the drawing of lots came out very quickly. Tang Zheng was actually this lucky person. This meant that he did not need to participate in the competition tomorrow and would directly advance. The other contestants looked at him with eyes full of unwillingness, as if they were suspecting whether this was a shady deal. Of course, this was not a shady deal. The chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkue, was also very depressed. How could this brat's luck be so good? He had already judged Tang Zheng's approximate strength from these few battles. He did not know what method whales would use to make him lose the competition. With this result, Tang Zheng was also happy and relaxed. He did not need to participate in the competition tomorrow, so he went back to school early. At this moment, at the capital international airport, a direct flight from the Western Empire arrived at the capital and smoothly landed at the airport. At the airport exit, a tall white man walked out, dragging a suitcase in his hand. He walked leisurely. His blue eyes were incomparably deep, just like the ocean. The passers-by all paid attention to him. Many girls' eyes were shining as they said infatuatedly, "So handsome, much more handsome than those movie stars." The white man had a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. It had a trace of evil charm, which added to his charm. It made many girls' hearts feel as if they were about to jump out. However, these girls could only watch from afar. They all looked at the girl beside him with jealousy. This girl obviously had an Asian face. She wore trousers and a coat on the outside. She was tall and wore sunglasses, but it could not hide her natural beauty. Moreover, the corner of her mouth was slightly raised, forming a beautiful arc that made people's hearts palpitate. The white man whispered a few words to the girl in sunglasses from time to time. He even took the initiative to grab the girl's suitcase and carry it down the stairs. He was very gentlemanly. Wow, this girl is so lucky to have such a boyfriend. If I were her, even if I died now, it would be worth it. A woman murmured with envy and jealousy. Yes, the baby born with such a handsome guy must be very beautiful. A mixed race, just thinking about it makes me excited. These words were transmitted to the man and woman's ears. The man's expression did not change at all, as if he did not understand. The woman's eyes under the sunglasses flashed with a trace of displeasure. A luxurious limousine stopped in front of the two. The man personally opened the door and said, Sure, please get in. He was actually speaking Huaxia, and very fluently, as if he grew up in Huaxia. The girl in sunglasses shook her head and said, Louis, I'll take a taxi myself. You've never been to the capital before, so you must not be familiar with the terrain. Let me give you a ride. This is my duty as a man. The man said politely. Wales had already come down from the driver's seat. He smiled at the two of them and said, Respected miss, please let our young master give you a ride. The girl in sunglasses hesitated for a moment and nodded. All right, Louis, thank you. I'll treat you to a meal later. It's my honor, Louis said with a smile. When the girl in sunglasses got in, he gently closed the door while Wales put the suitcase in the car. When the others saw this scene, they were all dumbstruck. They did not hear the conversation, but they were obviously shocked by such a big show. Just who was this person? He was too awesome. Many women thought that this girl in sunglasses was too lucky. It was as if she had fallen into a honey pot. Why didn't they have that opportunity? But looking at their own appearance, compared to the girl in sunglasses, everything was self-evident. She had this condition, so she had this kind of preferential treatment. The limousine smoothly drove out of the airport and headed towards the city center. Chapter 366. Louis looked at the beautiful woman beside him who had already taken off her sunglasses. Her eyes were filled with urgency and joy, but her joy wasn't because of him, but because of someone else. His heart was gloomy, but he covered it up and said politely, Sure, this is my first time in Huaxia. Your country's development is really fast. Yeah, it's been developing so fast these past 30 years that even we don't recognize ourselves anymore. The woman said, Why didn't your boyfriend come to pick you up? Louis pretended to ask casually. She smiled faintly and said playfully, I didn't tell him. I was going to give him a surprise. This guy must be the happiest person in the world because he has a girlfriend like you. She seemed to think of her boyfriend and said, Because of him, I'm the happiest woman in the world. Is he really that outstanding? Louis asked in disbelief. She nodded with certainty. He really is outstanding. At least in my heart, he's the most outstanding person in the world. Louis smiled bitterly. Others say that I'm also outstanding, but obviously in your eyes, I'm far inferior to him. TSK, I don't know if you've heard of the saying in Huaxia, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Maybe it's because of this principle. She explained. Louis nodded. Then I really have to get to know him this time. I want to see what kind of person has captured your heart. Wales was shocked as he drove. Who was this woman to make the young lord so interested? And it seemed that the young lord had fallen for her. What kind of charm did she have? One had to know that the young lord wouldn't easily fall for a woman, but this time it seemed like he was serious. No matter what background this woman has, our young lord is more than enough for her. But she's thinking about some boyfriend. How preposterous. Wales glanced at the woman from the rearview mirror and felt displeased. When the Lincoln sedan drove into Yenching University, it attracted a lot of attention. After all, such a luxurious car was rare on campus. Many people were guessing which tycoon had come to pick up the girls. Nowadays, there were many luxury cars on campus every Friday, and they would pick up the beautiful girls and leave. Everyone understood what was going on. After all, this society was very fickle. Many people had the capital and were willing to take shortcuts. Others had no way to interfere. However, they guessed wrong this time. The Lincoln sedan did not stop at the girls' dormitory, but at the boys' dormitory. That's weird. Could it be that one of the brothers had taken care of a rich woman? He didn't see a rich woman, but a Westerner quickly got out of the car and opened the door. A pair of slender legs stretched out, followed by her entire body. She wasn't a rich woman. She was clearly a young miss from some family. She wore a pair of sunglasses on her chest, and her fair fingers gently tucked her hair behind her ear as she looked up. The winter sun shone on her body, bathing her in a layer of mysterious light, making her even more breathtaking and captivating. Many of the boys were mesmerized by the scene. Which fairy had descended to the mortal world? More importantly, what was such a fairy doing in the boys' dormitory? Could it be that one of the students had taken care of such a fairy-like character? Some of the girls lowered their heads. Compared to such a fairy, they were like Cinderella. It was better to stay away. But before everyone could fully recover, another tall and handsome Westerner also got out of the car. However, the feeling he gave people was even more different. In addition to being handsome, there seemed to be a kind of aristocratic aura emitting from his bones, making people fascinated. Many of the girls even covered their small mouths and almost screamed. They looked at the handsome guy with little stars in their eyes. The boys in the dormitory also noticed the situation downstairs. Someone whistled and screamed, "Wow, look at the beauty. Brothers, come and look at the beauty. She's a stunning beauty." With a loud roar, the whole dormitory suddenly boiled. Many people stretched out their necks to look, revealing an infatuated expression. Tang Jing had just returned from the competition venue. Just as he drank a mouthful of water and sat down to rest, he saw Sinosaurus stretch his neck to look out the window and even call out a beauty. "Boss, Lao Sin Lao Si, quickly come and look at the beauty. Wow, a stunning beauty." Sinosaurus called out while drooling. "Please, Lao Air, you're also someone who has seen the world. Aren't Ding Dang and that Li Xiaotian beauties? You see them every day, don't you have any aesthetic fatigue? You even call one a beauty." Zhou Yan criticized. Wang Shiji nodded. "Yes, Lao Air, your aesthetic standards need to be improved." "Damn, my aesthetic standards have long improved, but this one is really a beauty. Moreover, it's a different kind of beauty. She definitely won't lose to Yi Ding Dang. Moreover, she seems to have a kind of otherworldly charm, like a fairy that has flown down to the mortal world." Sinosaurus retorted. Is it as exaggerated as you say? I want to take a look." Zhou Yan said curiously. "I also want to take a look and test Lao Air's eyes." Wang Shiji also went up, and the three of them stretched out their necks like giraffes. Zhou Yan and Wang Shiji shouted at the same time, "Damn, Lao Air, you're not wrong this time. She is indeed a beauty, a top-grade beauty. I wonder what such a beauty is doing downstairs. Could it be that some brother has conquered such a beauty? Impossible, look at what car she's in. It's a stretch Lincoln, a luxury car. This is definitely a white, rich, and beautiful woman. Could it be that there's a hidden tall, rich, and handsome man living in our building? No, how can an ordinary tall, rich, and handsome man be worthy of her?" Wang Shiji corrected him. "Then what is she doing here? You'll know if you keep looking. Lao San, don't just sit there foolishly. Hurry up and come over to admire. If you pass this village, you won't have this shop anymore." Sinosaurus waved his hand and urged. "Yes, Lao San, Lao Air is telling the truth. It's better to be happy together than alone. Of course, we have to admire such a beauty together. You guys watch." Tang Jing shook his head. He didn't dare to be interested in this so-called beauty. Damn, Lao San is really calm. If you had a girlfriend as beautiful as Ding Ding, you would also be calm, huh? Zhou Yan joked. Ding ling ling. Suddenly, a melodious ringtone sounded. When Tang Jing saw the three words Fong Shishir on the screen, he immediately revealed a smile and quickly pressed the answer button. "Shishir, why are you calling me at this time?" Tang Jing asked softly. It was night time in the Western Empire. "I miss you." Fong Shishir's voice came from the phone. "Do you miss me?" "Of course I miss you. How are you doing over there?" Tang Jing asked. After all, the two of them were too far apart. Although they would usually contact each other, these few days, Tang Jing was so busy that he didn't have much time to contact each other. "I'm fine. I'm going to give you a surprise this time. Are you looking forward to it?" Fong Shishir said. "Of course I'm looking forward to it. What surprise?" Tang Jing asked curiously. "Where are you now?" "Dormitory." "I guess you're in the dormitory. Why are you asking this?" Don't ask yet. Go downstairs first and I'll tell you what the surprise is. Fang Shishir said playfully. Tang Zheng was full of suspicions, but he didn't think too much about it and said, "Okay, I'll go down right away." When the other three saw Tang Zheng rushing downstairs, they all turned their heads and asked, "Lao San, where are you going?" "I'm going down for a while." As soon as he finished speaking, Tang Zheng had already disappeared. "Sai, look, that beauty made a phone call just now. Who do you think she called?" Zhou Yan asked curiously. Wang Shiji said, "It must be a boy." Sinosaurus added, "This boy has a deep relationship with her. Look at her smile. Wow, it's too sweet. It's sweeter than honey. It can melt a person's heart." Sai, "It's a huge loss that Lao San didn't come to see. Tisk, Lao San has already gone down. He can definitely see it up close." Sinosaurus seemed to have awoken from a dream and shouted, "Damn, Lao San is too unjust. Why didn't he remind us to go down and take a look as well? Look, Lao San has already gone downstairs." Suddenly, Wang Shiji pointed at Tang Jing, who had already walked out of the dormitory building. "Wow, Lao San is walking straight towards that beauty. What is Lao San doing?" The three of them were confused. Not only the three of them, but the entire dormitory building was looking at the boy who walked out. Many sharp-eyed people had already recognized that he was the famous Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng was too famous in Yenching University. Although he had only been here for a few months, his limelight had suppressed all his seniors. But what was he going to do this time? Tang Zheng didn't want to do anything, but at this moment, his heart was filled with a huge surprise. When he walked out of the dormitory building and saw that familiar figure under the sunlight from afar, his heart seemed to stop beating, and time seemed to stop. It was too inconceivable. Why would Fang Shishir appear downstairs? Wasn't she studying abroad? Tang Zheng was confused, but he also understood what her so-called surprise was. She was a surprise that came from afar. At this moment, there was only her figure in Tang Zheng's eyes. Even if there were many students surrounding them, they were all automatically ignored by him. Similarly, Fang Shishir only had eyes for him. One day apart felt like 3 years. In the past, Fang Shishir didn't understand the true meaning of this sentence, but this time, after being separated by thousands of mountains and rivers, she truly understood the joys and sorrows of it. Every day, her longing for Tang Jing didn't decrease. Instead, with the accumulation of time, this longing became more and more intense, almost occupying her entire body and mind. Therefore, this time, she suddenly attacked Tang Jing and gave him a big surprise. The moment she saw Tang Jing, she felt that everything she had done was worth it. This surprise for Tang Jing was also very precious to her. It made her forget all her troubles, and the corner of her mouth rose, revealing a sweet smile from the bottom of her heart. Chapter 367. The others watched all of this with their mouths agape. It wasn't until Fang Shishir threw herself into Tang Zheng's embrace that everyone realized that this wasn't a dream. This was real. This fairy-like beauty had actually thrown herself into Tang Zheng's embrace. Wasn't it rumored that Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdang were boyfriend and girlfriend? Why was there another girl who was as beautiful as bubbles popping out of nowhere? Many of the boys looked at Tang Zheng with complicated gazes. They were filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred. Especially the 3 members of Team 502, who were like puppets, asked blankly, "What's going on?" Zhou Yan had an idea and said, "Could this person be the other girlfriend of all 3 that Feng Yong mentioned? Damn, this is going to be a big deal. Then what will happen when this beauty meets Yi Dingdang?" Sinosaurus was shocked. Wang Shiji said, "A world war has broken out. Sai, we have no choice. Oh, a 3 situation is too big. We can only pray for his own good fortune." Zhou Yan sighed. At this moment, Tang Jing didn't think too much about it. He only felt the soft and warm body of the person in his embrace, causing his heart to almost melt. Tang Jing stroked her hair and asked, "Why are you back?" "I missed you." Fang Shishir smiled like a flower. Hearing this, Tang Jing felt her deep affection and wished that he could rub her into his body. he said, running so far, you're not afraid of hardships. Seeing you makes all the hard work worth it. Fang Shishir said sweetly. Tang Jing laughed. Seeing the crowd around him, he finally let go of her. He also saw the luxury car not far away, as well as the two Westerners. Suddenly, his pupils shrank as he recognized Wales. His heart skipped a beat. Why would he appear here? Then his gaze turned to Louis. He thought to himself, who is this person? He's really a perfect combination of temperament and appearance. Fang Shishir left his embrace, feeling a bit embarrassed. Seeing Tang Jing looking at Louis and the others, she quickly pulled his hand and walked over, saying, let me introduce everyone. This is Louis, my classmate when I was studying abroad. This is Mr. Wales, and this is my boyfriend, Tang Jing. Louis had already heard Wales introduce Tang Jing's identity. At this moment, a strange look flashed across his eyes, but it was as if nothing had happened. He gracefully extended his hand and said politely, Tang Jing, hello, I've heard a lot about you. When Tang Jing heard the name Louis, he suddenly realized that this person was the young lord of the Rockefeller family. He just didn't think that he would be Fang Shishir's classmate. What was his motive for being so close to Fang Shishir? Tang Jing felt a chill in his heart. He had a trace of vigilance, but he didn't show it. He said calmly, hello. Fang Shishir looked at the two in surprise and asked, Louis, you've heard of my boyfriend's name before? She remembered that she had never told him Tang Jing's name. Why did he say that he had heard a lot about him? Louis smiled and said, Shishir, there's something you still don't know. Tang Jing is participating in the Hua Xia Martial Arts Conference. He's now a popular candidate for the championship. Martial arts conference? Fang Shishir was shocked. This was the first time she had heard of this news, but she wasn't worried. With Tang Jing's strength, he would definitely gain a lot from participating in the martial arts conference. There are still competitions in the martial arts conference in the next few days. Shishir, you can cheer for him on the spot. Louis said. Fang Shishir nodded without hesitation. Of course I'll cheer for him. Shishir, since you've already seen Tang Jing, let's go back to the hotel first. Louis said. Hotel? Tang Jing frowned. Fang Shishir hurriedly said, I'll book the hotel myself. You're tired from the journey. Go back and rest first. I'll contact you later. Louis persuaded, the hotel has already been booked. I'll tell you the address. You can come by yourself later. Fang Shishir declined without hesitation, there's really no need. My boyfriend will arrange it for me. Louis didn't force it and said, all right then. Goodbye. Watching the Lincoln car drive away, Tang Jing withdrew his gaze. Fang Shishir looked at him suspiciously and asked, are you jealous? He and I are really just classmates. This time he just happened to come to Beijing, so we can take care of each other. Tang Jing chuckled, why would I be jealous? I'm not that narrow-minded. Then why do I feel that you have hostility towards him? Tang Jing was shocked. Her intuition was really sharp. However, this matter was very important, so he didn't want to say more and said, maybe I'm not familiar with him. Fang Shishir nodded. Actually, Louis is a good person. Everyone knows that his family is very well off, but he is polite to everyone and doesn't bully others. It's said that his family is a noble. Noble? Tang Jing chuckled. The so-called nobles were all superficial. In reality, they did many dirty things that even they themselves didn't know. All right, let's not talk about him. Your school is so beautiful. You have to take me on a good tour. Fang Shishir said with great interest. We're almost at the restaurant. You must be hungry. Let's eat first. Okay, I'm not used to eating abroad at all. Our country's food is more to my taste. Speaking of food, Fang Shishir was a little drooling. 3. Suddenly, a member of 502 walked down. Fang Shishir's eyes lit up and asked, your roommate? Tang Jing nodded and said, come, let me introduce you. This is my girlfriend Fang Shishir. This is Sinosaurus, Zhou Yen and Wang Shiji. Our dorm mates. Fang Shishir smiled, nice to meet you guys. My name is Fang Shishir. Thank you for taking care of Tang Jing. It's not us taking care of him. It's him taking care of us. the three of them said enthusiastically. They saw that although Fang Shishir was beautiful, she did not have an arrogant attitude. She was very amiable. It's our first time meeting each other. Let's eat together. Fang Shishir said. No need, no need. It's not easy for you two to meet, so we won't be third wheels. Welcome to Yenqing University. Old three, you have to take good care of the beauty. Of course. Shishir, let's go. Tang Zheng pulled Fang Shishir and disappeared into the distance. Zhou Yan said worriedly, just now, Fang Fei called me and asked about Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir. This matter is too sensational. Even their dorm mates know about it. Yi Dingdang definitely knows about it too. What should we do now? Do Long spread out his hands. It's just a cold dish. Third is a daring person with high skills. Since he dares to play this chess, then we definitely don't need to worry about it. Sigh, it's just that the difference between people is so big. At this moment, the four people from Yi Dingdang's dorm were gathered together. Yi Dingdang's expression was calm, while the other three were indignant, especially Li Fang Fei, who gritted her teeth and angrily criticized. I really didn't expect Tang Jing to be such a heartless person. I was wrong about him. Hao Dan also nodded and complained, right, this kind of man is too bad. If I were to meet this kind of man, I would castrate him. Lu Xian, who had been silent all this time, said. Immediately, the three of them shared a common enemy and said, yes, castrate him. This kind of man is not responsible at all. Ding Dang, now that we have seen his true colors, we will cut off all ties with him in the future. The three of them talked for a long time, but when they saw that Yi Dingdang was still calm, they couldn't help but be surprised. Dingning, don't scare us, don't do anything stupid, it's not worth it for this kind of man. Yi Dingdang burst out laughing as if nothing had happened, and said, you don't have to worry, I'm not angry. Not angry? He already did such a thing, and you're still not angry? Yi Dingdang calmly shook her head. The three of them stared at her as if they were looking at a monster. They really couldn't understand her thoughts. Yi Dingdang was indeed not angry. Ever since she made up her mind to be together with Tang Zheng, she had long expected this day to come, but she didn't expect it to come so quickly, causing her to be a little at a loss. Her heart couldn't be said to be angry, but it was a little sour. Dingdang, who is that girl? My high school classmate, she and Tang Zheng were in the same class for 3 years, and she and I were in the same class for half a semester. The two of them were together when they were in the 3rd year of high school. Yi Dingdang said tirelessly, but the three of them were stunned. They were extremely shocked. Dingdang, you mean when you and Tang Zheng were together, you already knew of her existence? Yi Dingdang nodded. The three of them looked at each other, unable to hide the shock in their eyes. They had already guessed that Yi Dingdang's family background was not ordinary, but she was willing to make such a big sacrifice for Tang Zheng. They really couldn't understand, was Tang Zheng really so good, enough for her to throw herself at him like a moth to a flame? The three of them couldn't see through Yi Dingdang, but they didn't say anything more, they just sighed deeply. The relationship between these people was too messy. Outsiders couldn't do anything, only the people involved could solve this problem. Night fell. Tang Zheng had already brought Fang Shishir to Yenqing University to eat the delicious food near the university, and then came to a luxurious hotel. Now that he was not short of money, of course, he couldn't bring her to a small hotel near the university. When they walked into the hotel, Fang Shishir couldn't help but blush a little. Of course, she knew what would happen tonight. She couldn't help but look forward to it, and her eyes became blurred. They opened the door and entered the hotel. The hot air in the room hit them in the face. Fang Shishir took off her jacket, revealing a thin undershirt, and her chest stood proudly. It was very tempting. Tang Zheng's heart moved, and he smoothly hugged her waist, resting his chin on her shoulder, smelling the faint fragrance from her neck, and said, thank you for your hard work, I'll take off your clothes, let's take a bath first. Fang Shishir's body went soft and she whispered, don't be naughty. I'm so good, how can I be naughty? Tang Zheng said, his hands didn't listen, and took off her clothes one by one. Chapter 368. Under the curtain of night, in the presidential suite of another luxurious hotel, Louis held a glass of red wine and stood in front of the huge floor-to-ceiling window. He looked down at the brightly lit city below and said, "These years, Huaxia has really developed too quickly, while our Western Empire has lagged behind. Many of our shortcomings have been exposed, and the people in our country have a lot of complaints." Wales stood behind him respectfully and said, "Young lord, the land we are standing on is a fertile land. It is also a land full of vitality. 100 years ago, we didn't manage to conquer this land, but now the opportunity has come again." Louis smiled lightly and said, "Once we conquer this land, then the conflicts in our country will be easily solved. Yes, that's why our family's plan is so far-sighted. We will definitely prosper and stand at the top of the world." Wales said, "Has the matter with Tang Jing been arranged properly?" Suddenly, Louis's tone changed and became a bit cold. Wales shivered and quickly nodded. "It has been arranged properly. He will definitely die in the martial arts tournament arena. At that time, the spirit of this country will definitely fall apart, and then we will have the opportunity to take advantage of it." Louis nodded with satisfaction. "Very good. This Tang Jing really surprised me. He is actually Shershir's boyfriend. Now I don't have to do it myself." "Young lord, how can he be your opponent? You only need to use your little finger to crush him." Wales flattered. Louis said with satisfaction, "This person is not simple, but he wants to go against me and steal my woman. Only death awaits him. In this world, those who steal a woman from me, Louis, can only go to hell." Wales thought of Fang Shershir's face and curiously asked, "This subordinate would be so bold as to ask, why is the young master so fond of this girl? I didn't find anything special about her." Louis smiled mysteriously, "You will know in the future. Also, how is your investigation of the cultivators going?" "Young lord, a cultivator called the demon god has indeed appeared in the capital, but where this cultivator came from, I have not been able to find out. These past few years, the martial organization has been hunting cultivators. There were originally very few cultivators, but this demon god is the most powerful cultivator that has appeared in recent years." Wales said. Louis's eyes flashed as he said in a deep voice, "Find him." "Yes, young lord." "Rest early, young lord. I'll take my leave first." After Wales left the room, Louis lowered his head and looked at the wine cup in his hand. The dark red wine swirled in the cup as his wrist moved. "Tang Jing, you're dead meat. Fang Shershir, you can't escape from my grasp." His voice became extremely cold and his eyes flashed. Bang! Suddenly, the wine glass shattered, and the wine and glass shards spilled all over the floor. His hand was cut by the glass, and blood quickly gushed out. Louis looked at the wound, but his expression didn't change, as if he couldn't feel the pain. Blood gushed out and dripped down his finger. Suddenly, the blood stopped and returned to the wound, and the wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. Not long after, the wound and blood disappeared without a trace, as if his hand had never been injured. At the same time, Tang Jing and Fang Shershir started their battle in the bathroom. The bed, the sofa, the desk, the chair, every place had traces of their battle. This battle lasted until the second half of the night before the winner was decided and the losers were beaten. Fang Shershir lay in Tang Jing's embrace with a satisfied expression. The blanket covered their bodies, but Tang Jing could still clearly feel the captivating charm coming from her body. Seeing Tang Jing's fingers roaming her skin, Fang Shershir's heart trembled. She lazily said in a weak voice, "I don't have any strength, please don't move." Just now, who was so brave and wanted to defeat me? In the end, who was the one begging for mercy? Tang Jing teased. Fang Shershir pouted and said, "Who told you to be so fierce? Isn't fierce good?" Tang Jing said with a mischievous smile. "Of course it's good. Alas, it's just that every time you torment me so much. I haven't seen you in so long, I can't help it." Fang Shershir didn't get angry, but smiled with satisfaction. "When I wasn't here, what did you do? Were you self-sufficient?" Tang Jing awkwardly coughed. When she wasn't here, Lu Qingmei replaced her, so he didn't need to be self-sufficient. "Girl, don't ask such a blatant question." Fang Shershir covered her mouth and chuckled. "We're already like this, What's there to be embarrassed about? I heard that you guys are all like that, so don't be embarrassed. Sure. Why do I feel that after your trip abroad, you've become a lot bolder? Foreign countries are more open-minded. Oh, how open-minded? I didn't do anything, but let me tell you, there's a girl in my dorm who goes on dates with different guys every day, and she doesn't even come home at night. Fang Shishir gossiped. Then you can't learn from her. I won't. I'm a good girl. I study hard every day and spend most of my time in the library. Tang Jing nodded. He still believed in Fang Shishir. Are you confident in the martial arts convention? Of course I'm confident. Tang Zhang's expression didn't change at all, but in his heart, he wondered what Louis would do to deal with him. However, he would deal with whatever came his way. He wasn't afraid at all. Fang Shishir had already introduced Louis in detail. This person was very rich, but very low-key. He was courteous to everyone, but obviously, this person was chasing after Fang Shishir. Fang Shishir had already clearly rejected the other party, but Westerners were more direct and bold. Although she rejected him, the other party didn't give up, but he didn't cross the line either. Instead, he was courteous to her. Sigh, Louis is good at everything, but he just won't let go of me. Even though he doesn't pester me, it's a little annoying sometimes. For example, I thought you would get angry and beat him up when you saw him today, Fang Shishir said. Hee, am I such a petty person? Tang Jing laughed, but in his heart he said that he was a petty person. However, he didn't know the other party's background, so he chose to bide his time. Fang Shishir nudged him in his arms and said, Of course I know you're not such a petty person, so I agreed to let him send me to school. Does he know martial arts? Tang Jing asked on a whim. Fang Shishir thought for a moment and shook her head. I don't think so. I've never seen him fight with anyone, and I don't feel any fluctuations of internal strength. Westerners and Hua Xia people are different. Their martial arts focus more on physical strength, so there won't be many fluctuations of internal strength. Tang Jing had fought with Westerners before, so he already had some experience. Anyway, I think even if he knows martial arts, it would be simple punches and kicks. Wow, you're not really going to beat him up by asking this, right? Fang Shishir asked curiously with her eyes wide open. Tang Jing laughed. Don't worry, I'm not that reckless. However, he began to think. He really didn't feel any fluctuations of internal strength, but he always felt that this person had a mysterious aura that couldn't be shaken off. The next day, because Tang Jing was lucky, he didn't have to participate in the competition, so he took Fang Shishir to walk around the capital. The two were full of energy and almost went crazy. The two's phones were turned off all day long, so they weren't disturbed by outsiders. At night, the two had sex for most of the night before they went to sleep contentedly. Morning, National Stadium. Tang Jing held Fang Shishir's hand and walked into the stadium. Immediately, Fang Shishir was infected by the enthusiasm of the audience. The overwhelming cheers of Kung Fu Bro made her blood boil. Tang Jing, they're calling you. Fang Shishir held Tang Jing's hand tightly and said excitedly. Tang Jing's expression was calm and asked, How do you feel? I didn't expect you to have such a big impression. Fang Shishir felt like she was dreaming. The two had only been separated for a few months. She was obsessed with her studies, but Tang Jing had made such a big name in the country. Backstage, the two walked in and saw Yi Dingdang and Li Xiaotian. Yi Dingdang warmly greeted, Fang Shishir, long time no see. I didn't expect you to come back to China. Yeah, I came back to play for a few days. Yi Dingdang, which university are you attending now? Fang Shishir asked curiously. Yi Dingdang glanced at Tang Jing. Obviously, Tang Jing didn't tell Fang Shishir about the relationship between the two. She didn't point it out and said, Yenqing University, and I'm an alumnus of Tang Jing. Oh, then we can take care of each other in the future. Fang Shishir said with a smile. Tang Jing was a little embarrassed. He deliberately didn't mention Yi Dingdang to Fang Shishir in order to deliberately conceal the subtle relationship between the two. Li Xiaotian looked at the expression between the three people, and the corner of his mouth hooked up into a smile. He thought to himself, men really don't have good things. Eating in the bowl, looking at the pot. Fang Shishir also saw Li Xiaotian. She had already learned about the relationship between Li Xiaotian and Tang Jing from Li Xiaotian. She didn't have much of a good impression of this two-faced beauty. When he was in Yanjing, it was thanks to her that he had a storm with the cold-faced killer Xiao Xiaoling. If Tang Zheng's strength wasn't bad, he would have fallen in the hands of these two people. Fang Shishir, hello. I haven't seen you for a long time, and you've become more beautiful. Li Xiaotian smiled and said as if they were familiar with each other. Fang Shishir nodded faintly, which could be considered as a greeting. The drawing of lots began. Yesterday's match was very fierce, and it was a feast for the eyes of the audience. The 4 contestants were all experts. The Westerners fought against the Koreans, while the Siamese fought against the island nation. In the end, the Westerners and the Siamese won. It was said that these 2 battles were very tragic. In the end, they all saw blood. The Koreans' limbs were broken by the Westerners, and they directly became a cripple. It was incomparably miserable, while the Siamese Sampo won against the island nation with a little advantage. Therefore, today's 3 contestants were all experts, which attracted a lot of spectators. Today, this huge stadium had tens of thousands of spectators, and their enthusiasm was like fire. These 3 people drew lots, and another lucky person would be born. Just like Tang Jing yesterday, he didn't need to compete and directly advance to the finals. Therefore, whoever drew the lucky lot this time would definitely make a lot of money. Chapter 369. After the drawing of lots, Tang Jing was unable to maintain his good luck. He had to fight with the Siamese Sampa to qualify for the finals. Sampa was in high spirits and was very excited. I can finally have a battle with you. Then my trip this time has not been in vain. Songba said with high fighting spirit. Sampa's goal was very clear. He came for Tang Jing. The champion of the martial arts tournament was not very attractive to him. This time, he would be able to compete with Tang Jing in a fair and square match. This was what he wanted. This time, Yu Zhangkue appeared again. He looked at the 2 with a fake smile and said, I wish the 2 of you a great victory. Go on stage. The Western Muda glared at Tang Jing and said, I hope you don't lose. I'm still waiting to fight with you. Looking at the burly Muda, Tang Jing's 1.8 height seemed thin and small compared to his opponent's 2 height. He said without fear, Don't worry. I will definitely beat you in the finals. Then I'll wait and see. Muda said with a murderous look. Tang Jing and Song Ba walked up to the stage, and immediately, the cheers of the crowd seemed to break through the sky. Thousands of pairs of eyes stared at the 2 of them, especially Tang Jing, who was the focus of most of them. And Sampa did not seem to hear the cheers around him. He only had one person in his eyes, Tang Jing. His fists gradually clenched. Under his dark skin, the veins bulged like pythons coiling around his arms. It was extremely terrifying. I hope you will use your full strength to fight with me, Sampa said firmly. Tang Jing said, Then let's see if you have enough strength to force me to use my full strength. Sampa did not get angry. Instead, his eyes lit up. Facing such a strong opponent was a rare opportunity for him. Sampa let out a low roar as he tapped the ground with the tip of his foot. A steel-like flying kick swept towards Tang Jing. The air was compressed and exploded. Before the flying kick hit Tang Jing, he felt a strong gust of wind coming towards his neck. Sampa's first move was aimed directly at his neck. If he couldn't dodge in time, his neck would definitely be broken. This was an absolute killing move. Sampa had participated in countless underground boxing competitions, so every move and style was aimed at defeating the opponent, and also to make the opponent lose the ability to resist. Tang Jing quickly raised his arm and blocked the side of his neck. Bang! The flying leg swept across the arm, but the arm did not move at all. Instead, the flying leg bounced back and swept across the railing of the arena. With a cracking sound, the railing was directly bent by the kick. The audience sucked in a breath of cold air. How strong was that? Even the hollow steel pipe as thick as a baby's arm was kicked to pieces. Sampa had not yet landed on the ground when he attacked again with his elbow. This time, he went straight for Tang Zheng's chest. Tang Zheng also attacked with his elbow. When the two elbows collided, Sampa took a small step back. Obviously, in terms of strength, Sampa was slightly inferior. However, Sampa was not afraid. He would only be excited if the opponent was strong enough. The blood in his body was almost boiling and flowing faster. His tan cheeks were also a little red. He suddenly let out a low roar and used both his fists and legs. In an instant he attacked 9 times in a row. As far as the eye could see, there were only afterimages. However, each of these afterimages contained a terrifying power that was enough to kill. Tang Zheng's counterattack was even faster. His hands seemed to have disappeared, and only afterimages could be seen. However, he completely blocked the opponent's attack. After a while, the two people's speed became faster and faster. Only 2 figures could be seen moving and dodging in the arena. It was extremely dangerous. The arena suffered. It was unknown how many holes had been added to it, and some of the railings were twisted like fried dough twists. This was the result of being affected by the impact of the 2 people. The referee who was originally standing on the stage saw this and had already jumped off the stage. Under such a battle, staying in the arena was simply courting death. The audience held their breaths. Although the previous few matches were exciting enough, allowing them to feast their eyes and experience the true charm of Kung Fu. However, this match made them understand the horror of Kung Fu and its huge destructive power. Those who were anti-martial arts shut up one after another. It was as if their throats were grabbed by someone, and they could not breathe. Who said that Hua Xia's Kung Fu is just showy and impractical? Let them see what this is. This is Hua Xia's Kung Fu. This is the real killing technique. The audience was in an uproar. They all shouted Kung Fu Bro's name. The cheers were like an avalanche. In the VIP box, Louis watched the battle in the arena with burning eyes. Mutu stood beside him respectfully. Mutu, what are your chances of winning against him? Louis asked. Mutu said confidently, Young Lord, I am very confident. Louis's mouth curled up and said, Oh, you are so confident? Of course, no matter how strong he is only an ordinary human. How can he be my opponent? Mutu said resolutely. Ordinary human? Haha, I didn't think that the martial artists in Hua Xia could reach such a level. No wonder our Western Empire didn't obtain the final victory in the war 100 years ago. If we don't get rid of the martial artists, this country can't truly fall into our hands. Louis's unclenched hands clenched into fists. Young Lord, our defeat 100 years ago will not happen again. Under the leadership of the young Lord, our empire will definitely occupy this fertile land. Louis said, Dong dong. The sound of knocking came. Muta opened the door and saw Wales and Yu Zhangkui standing outside. Come in, Louis said without turning his head. The two entered the room. Yu Zhangkui seemed a little reserved. He slightly bent his body and glanced at Louis from the corner of his eyes. He quickly lowered his head again. Young Lord, this is the chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkui. Wales introduced. Young Lord turned his head to look at him and nodded. Chairman Yu, I have seen all the contributions you have made for our Western Empire. You will receive double the rewards in the future. Yu Zhangkui immediately expressed his gratitude. Thank you, young lord. This is what I should do. You also arranged the draw very late this time, letting Mutu directly advance to the finals. Young lord said. Yu Zhangkui said, actually, Mr. Mutu directly advancing isn't difficult. We just let Tang Tangjing live another day. It turned out that the previous draw was rigged. It had already been decided that the lucky one would be Mutu. This way, Mutu could directly advance and have more time to recover his strength for tomorrow's finals. Young Lord, Siam Sampa is very powerful. If Tangjing loses this battle, then Mr. Mutu won't have to deal with him. Yu Zhangkui said courteously. Oh, you think that Tangjing is not Sampa's opponent? Louis asked curiously. Yu Zhangkui glanced at the ring. The battle between the two was very intense. He pondered and said, Sampa is after all the #1 fighter in Siam. Tangjing may not be his opponent. Louis snorted and said, short-sighted. Yu Zhangque jumped in fright. His expression changed and said, "Yes, I only know a little bit of martial arts. I can't see who will win." Lewis said indifferently, "Within 10 moves, Tang Zheng will win without a doubt." 10 moves? Yu Zhangque's heart trembled. Was Tang Zheng really that powerful? Now it was obvious that they were in a stalemate. He couldn't see any clues. How could Tang Zheng win within 10 moves? However, no one dared to question Lewis's words. Everyone was focused on the ring. At the same time, Li Xiaotian and the others were also looking at the ring. Li Xiaotian muttered to himself, "Tang Zheng's strength has really increased by leaps and bounds. He is really a freak. How can he be so powerful?" Li Xiaotian said in her heart that according to Tang Zheng's cultivation speed, it wouldn't be long before she was surpassed by Tang Zheng. However, she didn't know that Tang Zheng's current cultivation was not inferior to hers. Sampa's excited expression had already become very serious. The light in his eyes was slowly fading as he clenched his teeth. From the beginning, Sampa's attacks were especially fierce and had reached his limit. However, Tang Zheng was able to receive all of them without being injured in the slightest. Moreover, Tang Zheng's strength was endless. Moreover, the more he fought, the more ferocious it became. Sampa was gradually feeling the strain. Tang Zheng didn't use his full strength from the beginning. Instead, he waited for the opponent's consecutive attacks. He wanted to see the power of Muay Thai. Muay Thai indeed had its unique points. It didn't have much inner strength, but the strength was fused into the muscles and bones. This was the result of countless tempering. This caused each of Sampa's seemingly simple attacks to be filled with killing moves. However, Tang Zheng had the foundation of true qi. The speed and strength of each of his attacks were superior to that of Sampa's. Therefore, Sampa was feeling more and more tired the more he fought. Gradually, cold sweat appeared on his forehead and dripped down his tanned cheeks. Tang Zheng understood that he had squeezed out all of his opponent's strength, so he was ready to end the battle. He took a deep breath and his true qi surged. A trace of light appeared on his fist. This trace of light wasn't obvious, but Sampa, who was close by, saw it clearly. He couldn't help but gasp. A punch came. This punch didn't seem much different from the previous one, but in Sampa's eyes, it was completely different. This punch was like a mountain pressing down on him, giving him the urge to kneel and beg for mercy. However, Sampa wasn't an ordinary person. He gritted his teeth, gathered all the strength in his body, and met the punch with both fists. One fist against 2 fists. Tang Zheng's expression was calm. His feet seemed to have grown roots and didn't move at all. Sampa, on the other hand, broke the ring with a boom and sank in. His expression quickly withered and the light in his eyes gradually faded. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. At the same time, with a loud bang, the ring, which was full of holes, collapsed. Dust flew and the audience screamed. However, no one looked away because this scene was too exciting and unforgettable. Chapter 370. The audience stared intently at the man standing tall. In an instant, the cheers were deafening, and the 3 words, "Kung Fu Bro," were shouted out in unison. This book is updated at high speed. Kung Fu Bro wins. Tang Zheng wins. The audience was in high spirits, as if they could melt the slightly chilly winter. One by one, they stood up and waved their fists in excitement. Sampa lay in the ruins, listening to the cheers. His expression was gloomy. He came with great confidence, but he did not expect that he would still be defeated. He climbed up from the ruins, looked at Tang Zheng and said sincerely, "I lost. I accept it wholeheartedly." "You're not weak either," Tang Zheng praised. His opponent's strength was equivalent to a Xiantian martial artist, but he relied on the strength of his muscles without inner strength to supplement his strength. In the end, he would be powerless. The referee finally recovered from his shock. He looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated gaze and announced, "The winner is Tang Zheng." Sampa turned around and walked away, his figure somewhat desolate. Tang Zheng walked backstage. Fang Shishir and the others came up to him and said, Congratulations, you've defeated another person. Tang Jing nodded. Let's go. Tomorrow's finals will definitely not be so easy. He was not too happy. Instead, he was somewhat dignified. That Mutu was definitely not as simple as he seemed. Moreover, he did not know what Lewis's next move was. Tang Jing, congratulations. Suddenly, Lewis and the others walked in. Lewis smiled and congratulated him. They looked up and looked at each other in surprise. Li Xiaotian was shocked. She had already guessed the other's identity. She did not expect that Lewis had already come to Beijing. Yi Dingdong's thoughts were relatively simple. She looked curiously at Lewis. She still remembered the disturbance on campus yesterday. She was guessing the relationship between this person and Fang Shishir. Fang Shishir smiled like a flower. Lewis, you're here to watch the competition too? Yes, it would be a pity to miss such an exciting match. Shishir, you have a very capable boyfriend. Fang Shishir nodded. Thank you. Suddenly, she looked at Mutu. Hey, you know this person too? Lewis said, when I was in China, I had some friendship with Mutu. This time, it just so happens that he's participating in the martial arts conference, so I'm here to cheer him on. Sure, tomorrow is the showdown between your boyfriend and Mutu. I won't be biased because of you. I will support Mutu. You don't have any objections, right? Fang Shishir said without a care, of course I don't care. I believe that Tang Jing will definitely defeat him. Then we'll wait and see. Lewis said mysteriously. Tang Jing, I'm looking forward to your performance tomorrow. Saying this, he casually patted Tang Jing's shoulder twice and then left with the others. Li Xiaoyan looked suspiciously at Fang Shishir and then looked in the direction that Lewis disappeared. She was very curious as to why Fang Shishir was so familiar with Lewis. Tang Jing slightly shook his head at her, indicating that she should not act rashly. When there was no one around, Tang Jing explained to Li Xiaotian the relationship between Fang Shishir and Lewis. Li Xiaotian was greatly surprised. This was outside of Li Palace's information. She mischievously asked, so you and Lewis are rivals in love? Rivals in love? Tang Jing curled his lips. Shishir is already taken. What kind of rival is he? It's just a one-sided love. That's not necessarily true. In this world, there's no wall that can't be dug out. He's not the typical tall, rich, and handsome type. You have to be careful. Li Xiaotian warned. Tang Jing was not worried in the slightest. When it came to Fang Shishir, he was completely at ease. She definitely would not fall in love with someone else. Don't just make fun of me. Do you think that Lewis came to China this time for some other reason? Tang Jing asked. Li Xiaotian did not understand and said, didn't he come to China for the martial arts convention? Tang Jing muttered to himself for a moment and said, even if he came for the martial arts convention, after the martial arts convention, what other methods do they have? Have you investigated? Li Xiaotian's face revealed an ashamed expression. Normally, she boasted that Li Palace was the place with the most up-to-date information, but this time, the Rockefeller family's intentions were very mysterious. Just as Tang Jing said, after the martial arts convention, what other methods did they have? In addition, this Lewis gives me a very strange feeling. His purpose in coming to China is definitely not that simple. Tang Jing said solemnly. Oh, why do you say that? Intuition. Haha, intuition, isn't it too vague? It's up to you to believe it or not. Doesn't your Li Palace boast that your information network is very powerful? Could it be that you can't investigate? Tang Jing provoked. I know you're trying to provoke me, but let me tell you, this kind of provocation is useless against me. However, I will still investigate this Lewis. I want to see what their purpose is. Li Xiaotian said. That night, Tang Jing and Fang Shishir still stayed in the hotel. However, the two did not have sex and instead cultivated. For tomorrow's decisive battle, Tang Jing did not dare to let down his guard. He calmed his mind and circulated the ancient clear heaven scroll and the dragon god technique over and over again, allowing his strength to reach its peak state. When the first rays of dawn fell on the earth, Tang Jing opened his eyes and bathed in the sunlight. His body seemed to emit a faint light, incomparably mysterious. The two of them arrived at the hotel's restaurant. This restaurant's breakfast was very special. The two of them had eaten it once yesterday morning and liked it, so they still chose to eat here today. The exquisite breakfast was served. The two of them chatted as they finished their breakfast and then took a taxi to the National Stadium. Today, the atmosphere in the stadium had reached its peak. There was already a sea of people outside the stadium. After a period of fermenting, the martial arts conference had become the focus of the entire nation. Many people had traveled thousands of miles to Beijing just to see the glory of the finals. The tickets for the finals had already been inflated to a sky-high price, but there were still many fanatical spectators who bought them. This was simply comparable to an international competition. From afar, one could see many people taking pictures outside the stadium. Although some people did not buy tickets, they still surrounded the stadium and felt the warm atmosphere. In addition, this finals was broadcasted live on the national network. Many reporters had flocked over and the police had even pulled up a cordon to maintain order. Seeing this scene, Fang Shishir said, "After this battle, you'll be equivalent to a big star. Many people will recognize you. This is just something I should do. As for being a big star, I've never thought about it," Tang Jing said. Just as the two of them walked to the door, many people had already recognized Tang Jing and quickly surrounded him. Many long and short guns were handed to Tang Jing. "Kung Fu Bro, what are your thoughts on this battle? How confident are you in winning?" the reporter asked. Tang Jing chuckled, "How confident are I? Mutu is an expert. In the last battle, he almost crippled the Korean player. There is no doubt about his strength. Could it be that you don't have any confidence?" The reporter clearly misunderstood. When the other spectators heard this, they were furious. "Hey, do you know how to speak? How can Kung Fu Bro not have confidence? You're just a Westerner, what are you being so arrogant for? Kung Fu Bro will win. Kung Fu Bro will win." The others echoed. The crowd was excited and their shouts were deafening. The reporter smiled and said, "Kung Fu Bro, since so many people support you, what do you think are your chances of winning?" Tang Jing said in a deep voice, "Since everyone believes in me so much, then of course I am full of confidence. What I want to say is that Hua Xia's martial arts will win. There is no doubt about this. Domineering, we will win." Seeing Tang Jing's statement, the others were excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. In the distance, Louis and the others also arrived. Seeing the movement on Tang Jing's side, Louis asked in a low voice, "Wales, have you arranged it?" Wales smiled mysteriously, "Young lord, don't worry. Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng have arranged it properly. This time, Tang Jing will definitely die, and it will not arouse anyone's suspicion." "That's good. What about the other thing?" "Young lord, I have worked hard and finally learned that the demon god has gone to Dianan." "Dianan? Is it reliable?" "It's true." "Then let's go to Dianan tomorrow." "Demon god, I'm looking forward to seeing him," Louis said. Not far away, Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng were sitting in the car. Chu Xiaofeng's eyes were full of murderous light and hatred. He gritted his teeth and said, "This kid is dead this time. If we join forces, he won't die unless a miracle happens." Song Yu said, "Miracle? I've never believed in miracles. Tonight, let's get drunk and celebrate getting rid of this big problem." Chu Xiaofeng was a little impatient. "Don't be so anxious. The real show will be in a while. Don't you want to see Tang Jing being tortured to death?" Song Yu asked. Chu Xiaofeng's eyes lit up. "Of course I want to. I dreamed about it, but I didn't expect it to happen so soon." "Hey young Master Song, look over there, Yanlun, why is he here?" Suddenly, Chu Xiaofeng pointed to a person in the distance. "Yan Luyun." Song Yu raised his eyebrows. As the head of the 4 young masters of the capital, Yan Liuyun's name firmly suppressed several of them. He must have come to cheer for Tang Jing. The Yan family is now trying to improve the relationship with the Ye family, and Tang Jing is the breakthrough. This time, Tang Jing made such a big move. Of course, the Yan family has to show the so-called goodwill. Chu Xiaofeng curled his lips and said disdainfully, So what if we show goodwill? This time, I'm going to make Yen Luyun surprised and let him see how stupid the Yen family's decision to bet on Tang Zheng is. Song Yu sneered. Ha, then I'd like to see Yen Liuyun's wonderful expression later. Chu Xiaofeng said with an evil smile. Song Yu nodded and said, I also want to see it, it will definitely be very wonderful, huh? Young Master Song, look over there, Qin Badian and Li Hongqing, that slut, both husband and wife have also come. Chu Xiaofeng pointed at the two people that had just appeared, they're walking towards Tang Zheng. I don't know what kind of charm Tang Zheng has, even Qin Badian is so fond of him, it's strange. Song Yu said doubtfully. Chapter 371. Tang Zheng broke free from the encirclement of the crowd, and then saw Yen Luyun and Qin Badian walking towards him. He was slightly startled, and thought to himself that they actually came to watch his competition. Yen Luyun laughed heartily and said, Tang Zheng, congratulations, the champion of this martial arts assembly will definitely be you. Tang Zheng said modestly, we haven't fought yet, we still don't know who the winner will be. Yen Luyun said, that Westerner is definitely not your match, we are very clear about your strength. Back then in the Battle of Longxiang Mountain, although Tang Zheng had lost, he had lost to Chu Mingxian. Chu Mingxian was a pre-celestial stage expert, so losing to him was not embarrassing at all, but everyone could see through Tang Zheng's strength. Qin Badian said, young Master Yen is right, that Westerner looks strong, he is definitely not a match for you in the Tang Zheng. Qin Baixian's words were filled with intimacy, causing Yen Luyun to continue to have doubts in his heart, as he did not know how the two of them had gotten to know each other. However, from this point, it could be seen that Tang Zheng was extraordinary. Qin Badian was a power that was independent of the four great families in the capital, and although he did not have as deep a foundation as the four great families, no one dared to underestimate him at all. Young Master Tang, we'll be waiting for you to show off your might. Li Hongqing said with a smile. Say, then let's go in together. Just as he finished speaking, another group of people quickly walked over and shouted from afar. All of us, 502, are here to support you. Boss, I'm here too. Boss is killing Westerners, how can I not come and cheer you on? Feng Yong also waved his hand from afar and shouted. Tang Zheng, I brought the entire dorm to watch the battle. I wish you victory. Yi Dingdang and her three roommates also rushed over, but the three girls' gazes towards Tang Zheng were clearly a bit unfriendly. Moreover, when they looked at Fang Shishir a few times, their eyes flashed with amazement. In their hearts, they thought that this girl was really beautiful and had a good temperament. Aren't you guys going to class today? Tang Zheng was astonished. We can go to class anytime. Moreover, if we don't skip class in university, then how can it be called university? Oh, 3. Let me tell you, there are quite a few students in Yenching University who are skipping class today, especially for you. Tang Zheng raised his eyes, and as expected, many of the people who were entering the gymnasium were young students. This time, many of the students' emotions were all stirred up by Tang Zheng and felt honored. Of course, they had to watch this battle of the century. Sinosaurus said. T. Yang said. Kyung said Yong. Feng Yong also nodded in agreement. Boss, you won the championship this time. As your first underling, that's definitely the highest honor. You don't know, but now that I'm saying that I'm your underling, wow, many people are envious. Tang Zheng did not know whether to laugh or cry. Little handsome brother, we also came to support you. Suddenly, Feng Xinyang's voice rang out as she and Yi Tianlei walked over in large strides. Yinlei patted Tang Zheng on the shoulder and said, Little Tang, do your best. Tang Zheng did not expect that they would come to watch the battle. It seemed that his competition this time had really touched the nerves of many people. Feng Xinyang glanced at Fang Shishir, but did not say anything. However, their appearance made Li Fangfei and the other two especially nervous. After all, they were Yi Dingdong's parents, and seeing Dingdong's boyfriend with other girls, it would be strange if they did not fly into a rage. But the strange thing was that the two of them actually ignored Fang Shishir and chatted happily with Tang Jing. This scene made them feel very complicated. What was wrong with these people? Why were they so contrary to common sense? Everyone walked into the stadium and sat in the spectator seats. Tang Jing walked backstage alone, and Mutu was already waiting there. Mutu glanced at Tang Jing, not hiding the killing intent in his eyes. Tang Jing acted as if he did not see it, and sat at the side, waiting for the competition to start. The audience all entered the stadium, and it was very lively. Everyone was talking about how exciting this competition would be, and many people stretched their necks to look at the contestants exit. On the VIP platform, Yu Zhangkui was dressed in a suit and leather shoes. He was sitting in the middle, and beside him sat a few fat officials of the Martial Arts Association. When the time came, Yu Zhangkui gave a speech and then announced the contestants to enter the arena. When Tang Jing and Mutu walked out of the exit, the crowd cheered thunderously. Tang Jing's home field advantage was very obvious, and 90% of the audience was shouting his name. He waved to the crowd, and suddenly, the cheers became louder. At this moment, the stadium was full. The stadium with 50,000 people was like a celebrity concert, and it was very exciting. The two of them walked into the arena and stood face to face. The referee gave the order, and then quickly jumped out of the arena. The last battle had left a deep impression on him, and he did not dare to stay in the arena any longer. "You're dead." Mutu pointed his index finger at Tang Jing and said, "Let's see who dies and who lives." Tang Jing did not think much of it. As soon as his voice fell, the two figures rushed at each other. Tang Jing's height was not short among ordinary people, but compared to Mutu's huge height of more than 2 meters, he was a little thin and small, but this definitely did not affect his attack power. The moment he rushed out, his violent momentum made everyone's heart palpitate. At this moment, the strength he showed was even fiercer than in the last match. Song Ba, who was sitting on the spectator stand, had a pale face. He finally understood that the reason why he was able to last so long in the previous battle was because Tang Jing did not use his full strength. Otherwise, he would have lost even more miserably and quickly. Mutu did not retreat at all, and his fist rushed out. In a trance, Tang Jing heard a few sounds of bones rubbing together and saw Mutu's fist grow bigger. Yes, it had really become a size bigger. Tang Jing was shocked. This Mutu was indeed not simple. He had completely trained his muscles and bones to the point where he could control them as he wished. He could actually freely control his muscles and bones. As the fist grew bigger, its strength also increased explosively. Tang Jing's thin and small fist collided with the huge fist, and Tang Jing felt that his joints were cracking. This was the effect of an absolutely powerful force exerted on his fist. The pain caused Tang Jing to subconsciously frown. On the other hand, Mutu looked as if nothing had happened. Instead, the corners of his mouth cracked into a smile and he asked, "How does it feel?" Tang Jing coldly snorted and said, "Not very good." His opponent's fist was a strength-type fist, and it was obviously not good to compete with him in strength. Tang Jing was not stupid and immediately changed his strategy. His index finger and middle finger came together, forming a sword with his arm. His arm rotated, and his finger pierced towards Mutu. Mutu disdainfully curled his lips, and still used his iron fist to open a path. When the finger pierced the fist, Mutu's expression suddenly changed, and he hurriedly retreated. This time, the strength that came from the finger was completely different, like a steel needle, incomparably sharp, piercing into his head, as if it wanted to cut his muscles and bones. This strange scene made Mutu immediately realize the danger. His expression became cautious, and he quickly retreated and asked, "What kind of martial arts is this?" "Sword technique." Tang Jing coldly said. This was the heaven-flying immortal sword technique, but he did not use the war spirit sword to display it. Instead, he used his hand as a sword. Although the power was reduced, it still could not be underestimated. When he used the sword technique, the force produced was completely different from when he used the fist technique. It was even sharper, and was not much different from a real sword. This was a new move that Tang Jing comprehended after his strength increased greatly. Although it was still evolved from the heaven-flying immortal sword technique, He did not need to use other weapons to conceal his identity as a cultivator. When Muta heard the two-word sword technique, his expression became more and more serious. He had never seen a sword technique that did not use a sword and instead used fingers. It was truly strange. So what if you have a sword technique? You will still die without a doubt. A fist technique and a sword technique immediately engaged in an intense battle. When Tang Zheng's finger slashed past, cracks appeared on the ground as if a real sword had slashed past, and when Muta's iron fist struck the ground quickly caved in and cracked bit by bit. This time, the arena was not like the previous match. It was temporarily built with cement and steel bars, so when the two of them produced such a terrifying effect, the audience cried out in alarm. This was almost beyond their imagination. If such a move hit an ordinary person, how could they have a chance of survival? The two of them moved faster and faster, until it was dazzling. The audience was no longer excited, but their hearts seemed to stop beating, and their faces turned pale. This was the deterrent force produced by the two of them fighting, acting on them. Chu Xiaofeng stared at the arena, his expression changed, and his expression was a little complicated. He said, "How long has it been? This brat's cultivation has far surpassed mine. I wonder what realm he has reached." After a pause, he impatiently asked, "Young Master Song, why hasn't it acted up yet?" Song Yu was confident and said, "The spirit-dispersing pill's medicinal properties are overbearing, and it will never go wrong. Don't look at how fierce he is now. Let me tell you, the fiercer he is now, the faster his internal strength will flow. This will only aggravate the effect of the medicinal properties, and his cultivation will be reduced to nothing." Chu Xiaofeng's eyes lit up, and he sincerely praised, "Young Master Song, you have a way. You actually found this legendary spirit-dispersing pill. Tang Zheng is also an idiot. He was poisoned by us in the morning, but he didn't know. After the spirit-dispersing pill melts the food, it will be colorless and tasteless. Not to mention him, even a great scholar won't be able to discover it. No matter how high his cultivation is, as long as this spirit-dispersing pill acts up, then he will be powerless. As long as his cultivation is reduced to nothing, then Muta can beat him into meat paste, and he will die without a doubt." Song Yu said proudly. Chu Xiaofeng enviously said, "Young Master Song, do you have any more of these good things? Give me a few, and next time I meet something that doesn't open my eyes, I will also reduce his cultivation to nothing." Song Yu shook his head and said, "Do you think this thing is the great strength pill sold on the streets? Let me tell you, I obtained this thing by chance, and after using it this time, I won't have any more in the future. What a pity." "It's not a pity. Getting rid of this big problem is the most important thing," Chu Xiaofeng comforted. Suddenly his eyes widened, and he pointed at the arena and said, "Young Master Song, look, it's working." Chapter 372. Tang Zheng's attacks were getting sharper and sharper. The flying immortals from beyond the sky came and went like a ghost, making it impossible for Mutu to guard against it. But suddenly, he felt the zhenqi in his body become restless. It didn't listen to his orders at all, and started to scatter in all directions. This scene surprised him. Ever since he started cultivating, his true qi would also boil when the pure yang energy erupted, almost uncontrollable. However, the current situation was very different. The true qi was rushing through his 8 extraordinary meridians, as if it was going to break out of his body. Moreover, every time the true qi flowed through an inch of meridians, the vigorous true qi would disappear a little. The disappearance of the true qi had never happened before. When Tang Zheng fought against his enemies, his true qi would also be consumed, but it would never disappear into thin air for no reason. But at this moment, his true qi disappeared into thin air. It was extremely strange. His movements were very fast. He saw Muta's iron fist hit his chest. He fiercely hit the railing of the stage and almost fell off the stage. The others looked at this scene in astonishment and cried out in alarm. Wasn't he supposed to have the upper hand? How could the situation change so much in the blink of an eye? No one understood what was going on. They could only watch as a trace of blood flowed out from the corner of Tang Zheng's mouth. Those with discerning eyes could see that Tang Zheng's situation was not good. Fang Shishir and Yi Dingdang stood up from their seats and looked at Tang Zheng in bewilderment. Yi Dingdang subconsciously exclaimed, "What happened?" Feng Xinyang and Yi Tianlei's pupils also shrank. They stared at Tang Zheng from afar and said, "Something seems to have happened to him." Fang Shishir was a cultivator, but she was also puzzled by the changes in Tang Zheng. Not only them, the others were also confused. However, in the VIP seats, Wales excitedly said to Louis, "Young lord, look, there's a change." "How did Song Yu and Chu Xiaofeng do it?" Louis asked with interest. Wales shook his head, "I don't know either. These two young masters are very mysterious, but it definitely isn't some honorable method. In this world, there are only means to achieve one's goal. There is no difference between the light and the dark." Louis said meaningfully. "Young lord is right," Wales flattered. Seeing Tang Zheng's decline, Mufta couldn't help but laugh. "Tang Zheng, go and die." Tang Zheng took 2 punches and flew out of the ring like an angry dragon emerging from the sea. Like a kite with a broken string, he flew out of the ring in a sorry state. Seeing that he was about to fly out of the arena, Tang Zheng roared and grabbed onto him to stop him. He then quickly pulled his body back. Fortunately, he was not eliminated, but Tang Zheng was not happy at all, because in these few minutes, he discovered that 2/3 of the innate qi in his body had disappeared. The innate qi disappeared into thin air just like that, as if it had never appeared. This caused Tang Zheng to be both alarmed and terrified. What the hell was going on? Tian Chanzi had never said that there would be such a situation before. But now was obviously not the time to delve into this question. Muda's eyes revealed an ominous glint, and it was not just to defeat him. Without a doubt, this final match had already been upgraded to a life and death battle. Either you die or I die. If he dropped the chain at this critical moment, Tang Zheng would not be able to keep his life anymore. F***ck, it wasn't easy for me to get to this point. I don't care what's going on, I have to win, I have to hold on to my life. Just as he nodded his head, he only had 1/10 of his innate qi left, and it was about to dry up. His speed was also getting slower and slower, and he took another punch. If not for the fact that he had already trained the chaotic Vajra spell to a certain level, just these few punches would have been enough to take his life. Muda became braver and braver as he fought. Although he did not know what was going on, he had already heard from Louis that there would be a problem with Tang Zheng's body, so he was not worried about this match at all. Seeing that Tang Zheng's situation was becoming more and more obvious, his attacks also increased by a level. With a sweep of his leg, Tang Zheng's waist was fiercely whipped, and he was directly sent flying. He laid on the ground in a sorry state, motionless, as if he was dead. The gymnasium quietened down to the point where one could hear a pin drop. Everyone was completely shocked by this scene, so shocked that they were speechless. "Kung Fu bro, what's wrong with you? Aren't you very powerful? Hurry up and stand up and fight, beat down this Westerner." The crowd roared. Immediately, furious roars surged out like a tidal wave. Everyone was shouting Tang Zheng's name, telling him to hurry up and fight. However, Tang Zheng did not move at all as if he was dead, causing everyone's confidence to instantly collapse. Many people even cried. Actually, it was very easy for love to turn into hate. When someone in the audience roared in dissatisfaction, "Bullshit Kung Fu bro, get off the stage and embarrass yourself. What Hua Xia Kung Fu, it's all bullshit. Right? It's so embarrassing. It's best if you die. Hua Xia Kung Fu is useless, it's just a scam." The voices of doubt grew stronger and stronger. These were all die-hard followers of the anti-martial sect, and there were also people sent by Wales who were secretly adding fuel to the fire. Naturally, the public opinion was one-sided. Not only was the competition venue boiling, even the internet was boiling. Everyone's insults were endless, and the voices of doubt towards Hua Xia's martial arts were growing stronger and stronger. Many people who originally believed in Hua Xia's martial arts couldn't help but have their hearts swayed. They doubted whether their previous beliefs were right or wrong. At this moment, the status of Hua Xia's martial arts in the hearts of ordinary people was slipping bit by bit. It could fall into the abyss at any time. Wales opened a bottle of expensive red wine and poured a small cup for Louis. He smiled. "Young lord, our plan succeeded. To celebrate our plan, let's have a toast." Louis had a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. He raised his wine cup and lightly clinked it with Wales's. He said, "Wales, the clan is very satisfied with your arrangements in Hua Xia this time. When things here are over, it will be the time for your triumphant return to the country." Hearing this, Wales's eyes were filled with excitement. The arrangements this time were so grand that he came to the capital a few years in advance to set them up. Today was finally the day of harvest. Of course, Wales was extremely excited. He's already fallen. As long as Muda gives the last punch, he's dead for sure, Louis said confidently. Some were happy while others were sad. Fong Shirshir, Yi Dingdang, and the others were already as anxious as ants on a hot pan. Tang Zheng was already lying on the ground, unable to move. Although he wasn't dead yet, he was only a step away from death. "We must do something." Fong Shirshir clenched her teeth. She couldn't allow Tang Zheng to die just like that. Although she didn't understand what happened, she was sure that something bad must have happened to Tang Zheng. Yi Tanlei advised, "Don't act rashly. Even if we rush over, we won't be able to save Tang Zheng at such a distance." "But are we just going to watch him die?" Yi Dingdang asked anxiously. Feng Xinyang and Yi Tianlei were stumped. They didn't know what to do either. Qin Badian and Yen Luyun sucked in a breath of cold air. They felt that everything was too unreal. Both of them were martial artists and understood that it was impossible to investigate a person's performance to such an extent. Moreover, the changes before and after were so strange that it made them speechless. "No, we can't let anything happen to OL3. Suddenly, Sinosaurus shouted and led his roommates to rush towards the arena. But they were just normal people. Even Yi Tianlei couldn't save him. How could they succeed? "Boss, you can't let anything happen to you. You're my boss, so you should be very powerful. How could you be defeated by a Westerner?" No one answered them, and no one pointed them in the right direction. However, Muda had already unleashed a thunderous attack. He used both his fists and legs to attack Tang Zheng, who was lying on the ground motionlessly. "Die, brat!" Tang Zheng heard a tsunami of questioning voices. Hearing these voices, his heart became numb. What was going on here? But he didn't have the chance to think carefully because his life was at stake. The last trace of his Jin Qi was about to disappear. When a cultivator lost their Jin Qi, all magic would lose its source. His fighting strength would be impossible to talk about. "No, I bear the heavy responsibility of learning Hua Xia's martial arts. If I fail like this, then wouldn't the Rockefeller family's scheme succeed? Hua Xia's spirit will also be destroyed and disappear without a trace." Tang Zheng clenched his teeth as if he was stirring with a knife. "I must immediately restore my Jin Qi." Suddenly, he had a flash of inspiration. He remembered a very precious thing, Dragon Origin Pill. The Dragon Origin Pill still had a huge amount of energy. Last time, he only took one and his body almost exploded. If not for Lu Qingmei's help, he would have died long ago. If he took the Dragon Origin Pill now, the huge amount of energy of the Dragon Origin Pill could be transformed into Jin Qi. Although there was still the danger of his body exploding, Tang Zheng didn't care so much. As long as he could restore his Jin Qi, other dangers were insignificant. Tang Zheng lay on the ground. Others couldn't see his movements clearly. He took out a Dragon Origin Pill from his summerer pouch without leaving a trace and then quickly stuffed it into his mouth. The Dragon Origin Pill melted. Immediately, surging energy rushed into Tang Zheng's 8 extraordinary meridians like a flood. Almost in an instant, his body was filled with the energy of the Dragon Origin Pill. However, this was external energy and not his own Jin Qi. Therefore, he crazily operated the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll and the Dragon God's secret art. The two divine arts immediately played a role. In an instant, he refined a lot of the energy of the Dragon Origin Pill and transformed it into his own Jin Qi. His originally empty body was immediately filled with true qi, just like a dried-up river that was once again flowing with water. In an instant, Tang Zheng was once again brimming with vitality. His dim eyes gradually became bright as the stars in the night sky. However, the others didn't notice this. Seeing Tang Zheng motionless, many people had already sentenced him to death. Many people couldn't bear to watch and turned their heads or covered their eyes. Chapter 373. The fist was about to hit Tang Zheng's head, causing the audience to cry out in alarm. Suddenly, two people jumped up and flew straight to the stage. Yi Dingdang and Fang Shishir rushed to the ring almost at the same time. At this moment, they only had Tang Zheng in their minds. Their only thought was that he couldn't die. But their speed was obviously half a beat slower than Mudu's. Suddenly, Mudu's fist hit the ground of the ring, creating a big pit. Tang Zheng's figure disappeared from under his fist. The audience shouted. What was going on? Where was he? Yi Dingdang and Fang Shishir stopped under the ring at the same time. They looked at each other and understood that things had taken a turn for the better. In the VIP room, the wine glass in Lewis's hand slipped and shattered on the ground. The wine splashed all over the floor. Tang Zheng didn't disappear, but his speed was too fast. The Dragon Yuan pill helped him to raise his cultivation by several levels last time. This time, when it suddenly erupted, Tang Zheng didn't faint and forcibly endured it. This was thanks to the fact that there was almost no true qi in his body, so the energy of the Dragon Yuan pill didn't make him explode. But even so, the true qi transformed by the Dragon Yuan pill was still much more than the true qi in his body, and there was still a large part of it that hadn't been completely transformed. Tang Zheng was like a person who was about to starve to death and suddenly ate too much. His stomach was about to explode. He had to move to consume some true qi. But this time, his speed was much faster than before. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared. It was so fast that people couldn't react to it with their eyes. When Muda's iron fist hit the ring, Tang Zheng was already behind him. His two fingers were like a sword. With a puchi, he chopped Muda's back and penetrated deep into his skin. A huge wound split open and blood splashed. Ah! Muda let out a heart-wrenching scream. He raised his head to the sky and howled. His eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Although he did not understand how Tang Zheng came back from the dead in an instant, he felt a strong sense of crisis in his heart. He didn't have much time to think. Relying on his instincts, he suddenly turned around, his eyes full of ferocity. At this moment, the flying immortals from beyond the heavens once again displayed its powerful might. Tang Zheng stabbed out with his sword, his fingers piercing Muda's chest at lightning speed. The muscles on his chest immediately split open and blood gushed out. Tang Zheng could even feel the strong beating of the other's heart. His heartbeat was very fast, twice as fast as a normal person's. However, this was not the main point of Tang Zheng's concern. He believed that this sword could pierce through his heart and kill him instantly. However, the battlefield was ever-changing. Just like how Muda did not expect Tang Zheng to come back from the dead, at this moment, Mudu, who was supposed to be dead for sure, actually burst out with a terrifying aura. Tang Zheng's hand could not pierce through. It was as if there was a strong force outside the heart that blocked his attack. Roar! An angry roar rang out. This roar did not sound like a human's at all. It sounded like some kind of wild beast. The sound shook the field and was deafening. Tang Zheng's pupils constricted. He saw an unbelievable scene. Muda's body made a series of crackling sounds. His clothes burst open, and strong muscles were exposed under his clothes. However, these muscles were different from human muscles. They were covered with hair. Tang Zheng looked up and saw that Muda's body had grown dozens of centimeters taller. He was now 5 meters tall, and his entire body was covered with long hair. What was even more frightening was that his head had also changed. It was no longer a human's head, but a wolf's head. He opened his mouth and revealed long fangs. His fingers had also become thicker, and sharp nails had grown out like sharp knives. In an instant, Muda transformed into a werewolf. He looked down at Tang Jing condescendingly, exuding an aura of death. This scene was completely shocking. Not only Tang Jing, but even the audience fell into a daze. What was going on? Why did that Westerner transform? He even transformed into a werewolf. Suddenly, a member of the audience shouted, "Monster!" Many of the more timid people fainted from fright. Many of them rushed out of the stadium, but there were also some who stayed behind out of curiosity. This year's martial arts conference was too interesting. A werewolf had even appeared. This was a monster that only appeared in Western legends. On the rostrum, Yu Zhankui and the high-ranking officials of the Writers' Association felt their legs go soft. They were lamenting in their hearts. Who could tell me what the F***K is going on? Yu Zhankui looked at the VIP room with a pale face. He wondered what the Rockefeller family had found. Why did such a heaven-defying thing appear? This was a live broadcast on the internet. The scene from before must have spread all over the internet. This was going to blow up. The country had never acknowledged such things. This time, it had appeared openly in front of the entire country's audience. Furthermore, there was no way to deny it. Yu Zhankui felt that his life had come to an end. He originally thought that he could retreat in one piece and go abroad to enjoy the life of a carefree old man. Now, it seemed that everything was just an illusion. In the VIP room, 2 wine glasses fell to the ground and shattered. The glass shards and wine splashed all over the floor. Louis's eyes flashed. He gritted his teeth and said, "Why is it like this? How did Tang Jing come back from the dead and increase his strength?" He even forced Mutu to reveal his true form. Whale's jaw was about to hit the ground. He only came back to his senses after a long time. He said in confusion, "Young lord, I don't know either. What should we do now?" I didn't think that such a small matter would cause such a huge change." "Whales, look at what you've done," Louis said with a murderous look. The usually cultured and refined Louis had disappeared. At this moment, his body was emitting a sharp and cold aura that made people shudder. Wales lowered his head, wishing that he could just bury his head into the floor. He said with fear, "Young lord, your subordinate has not handled the matter well. Please punish me." Let's clean up this mess first," Louis said grumpily. "Then what do we do now?" "Let Mutu kill Tang Jing first. This kid ruined our entire plan and forced Mutu to reveal his true form. This person cannot be left alive," Louis said resolutely. Li Xiaotian had already stood up. He stared at the transformed Mutu and muttered to himself, "Demon beast. No, this isn't a normal demon beast. Demon beasts need many years to cultivate into a human form. This werewolf is clearly different. It's a new demon beast race." Yi Tianlei, Feng Xinyang, Qin Badian, and Yen Luyun were all dumbstruck. They held high positions and knew more information than normal people, but they never knew anything about werewolves. "What is this thing?" Feng Xinyang asked blankly. The others shook their heads blankly. However, everyone's hearts tightened. The opponent was no longer human. Was Tang Jing still his opponent? "I will kill you." Muda opened his bloody mouth and roared towards the sky. Tang Jing's eyes were filled with killing intent. He never thought that things would turn out like this, but no matter what, he had to kill the opponent first. He was someone who had fought demon beasts before. How could he be afraid of a werewolf? Not only was he not afraid, but his fighting spirit was high. He roared and rushed into the sky. Rising winds and surging clouds. The first move of the transcendent flying immortal was unleashed. Immediately, a fierce wind rose from the ground and blew up the debris on the stage, forming a violent current that completely enveloped the two of them. Thus, from the outside, one could only see a fierce wind and sand filling the sky. The others couldn't help but hold their breaths. Was Hua Xia's martial arts this powerful? It was too terrifying. This didn't seem like martial arts, but more like an immortal technique. Many people who had originally doubted Tang Jing revealed ashamed expressions. They were really frogs at the bottom of a well. They didn't understand how powerful Brother Kung Fu was. At this moment, everyone was more concerned about Tang Jing's safety. This was not a battle with a human, but a battle with a demon beast. Tang Jing deliberately used rising winds and surging clouds to block the other's line of sight. This way, he could use his techniques without restraint. Against a demon beast, ordinary martial arts were no longer effective. He had to use the methods of a cultivator because Tang Jing already felt that he couldn't use his fingers as a sword to cut through the opponent's skin. This time, it was the real deal. With a thought from Tang Jing, the War Soul Sword quietly appeared in his hand. He raised the sword and charged forward. Muta didn't know where the War Soul Sword in Tang Jing's hand came from. At this moment, he could only raise his spirits to fight. Even though he had changed and his strength had greatly increased, the aura that Tang Jing released at this moment was even more shocking. It actually made him feel the smell of death. Roar! The two of them fought fiercely, and the arena made of concrete and steel collapsed with a boom. Large and small pieces of concrete were blown up by the strong wind and flew around the two of them, blocking the line of sight of the others. The people outside could only hear the sounds of fighting in the wind becoming more and more intense, and the aura became more and more terrifying. The audience sitting in the front row felt as if Mount Tai was pressing down on them, and they all retreated backwards. A battle of this level was too shocking. If an ordinary person was affected, they would definitely die. Fang Shishir and Yi Dingdang did not retreat. They stayed outside the arena, close to the tornado. They opened their eyes with all their might and looked inside, hoping to see Tang Jing's body. However, all of this was in vain. The storm was too big, making them almost unable to open their eyes. The two of them had their hearts in their throats, silently praying that Tang Jing would win. Chapter 374. The second grade of Anidia was equivalent to a second-grade pre-celestial stage warrior, but his fighting strength was definitely stronger than a second-grade pre-celestial stage warrior. Tang Jing originally did not expect himself to break through so quickly. After all, the Dragon Yuan Dan could not be casually consumed, but this time, because of the effects of the spirit-refining pill, the innate qi in his body had been completely dispersed. Furthermore, the medicinal properties of the spirit-refining pill were extremely tyrannical. When he consumed the Dragon Yuan Dan, a portion of the transformed innate qi was also dispersed by the remaining medicinal properties of the spirit-refining pill. If not for the fact that the energy of the Dragon Yuan Dan was too strong, the innate qi would not have been enough. However, now that the innate qi was completely enough, and there was even an extra portion, it directly allowed Tang Jing's cultivation to rise to another level, and it also prevented him from detonating his pure yang force, which was a complete surprise. Tang Jing was in high spirits, the War Soul Sword pointed forward, like a war god descending to the mortal world, awe-inspiring and inviolable. When Muta saw the changes in Tang Jing, his heart could not help but tremble. He still did not realize that Tang Jing was a cultivator. After all, the group of cultivators was too mysterious, and ordinary people would not be able to think of this point. Mutu roared and rushed forward, his sharp claws directly grabbing at Tang Jing. The steel bars and cement in front of him were cut into pieces like tofu by the sharp claws. Tang Jing coldly snorted and shouted, "Die!" He thrusted out his sword. The War Soul Sword directly cut off his sharp claws and pierced into his chest. This time, his chest was unable to withstand the attack of the magic treasure and was pierced through, the tip of the sword directly coming out from his back. Muta's eyes burst out with light, revealing a look of disbelief. He never thought that after transforming, he would actually be killed by Tang Jing in a few simple moves. In the past, whenever he encountered a strong enemy, Mutu would transform, his opponent would definitely die, and he had never failed. This time, he actually died so quickly under Tang Jing's sword. He used the last of his strength to ask, "Who are you?" Tang Jing sneered and pulled out the War Soul Sword. He took a step back and did not tell him anything. Instead, he stared at him coldly. Muta's chest was bleeding profusely, and his life force was rapidly draining away. His heart had already been pierced by the battle soul, and there was no possibility of him surviving. Remember, Huaxia doesn't allow you uncivilized barbarians to run amok. Tang Jing said firmly. Bang! Muta fell to the ground with a loud thud. His eyes were wide open as he breathed his last. Tang Jing kept the War Soul sword and waved his hand. The gale disappeared and the debris fell to the ground. The audience saw the battlefield again. Only one person was still standing. This person was actually Kung Fu Bro. Wow, it was boiling. The entire stadium was boiling. Even the original anti-martial arts faction was completely conquered at this moment. This was the martial arts of Hua Xia. Even when facing this kind of inhuman monster, he was invincible and invincible. In the future, who would dare to say that Hua Xia's martial arts were embroidered pillows or three-legged cat's martial arts? It turned out that Hua Xia's martial arts were so extensive and profound. Many of the audience members had already rushed down the stands and rushed to the arena without a care for their own safety. Each and every one of them had a look of excitement. In the VIP room, it was a mess. The tables and chairs were turned into dust. Lewis looked coldly at the arrogant person standing in the distance, and at his feet lay Mudu's corpse. Whale's face had already turned pale, and his lips were trembling. He raised his head to look at Lewis, then quickly lowered it. He could clearly feel the young lord's anger and did not dare to provoke him. Put away Mudu's corpse. Lewis finished speaking and turned to leave. Yes, young lord. Wales also quickly walked out and found Yu Zhangkue, and said, get someone to quickly take away Mudu's corpse. Yu Zhangkue's legs were weak, and he could not even walk steadily. He slumped on the chair like a pile of mud, unable to do anything at all. Wales snorted disdainfully, useless thing. He quickly walked towards the arena, obviously wanting to do it himself. Bang bang bang. Suddenly, a wave of hurried and orderly footsteps sounded. A large group of Heechang soldiers rushed into the stadium and went straight to the arena. They surrounded the arena in 3 layers. Whale's expression changed abruptly. He quickly stopped and took advantage of the chaos to quickly leave the scene. When he walked out of the stadium, he found that the entire stadium was surrounded by policemen. These policemen were all facing a great enemy. Their eyes were like searchlights as they scanned everyone. He did not dare to stay. He quickly found a weak spot and slipped away. He already understood that this unforeseen event had attracted the attention of the authorities in Huaxia. The sudden appearance of such a transformed monster on this land would definitely attract the attention of the national level. Next, Muda's corpse would be sent to the laboratory for dissection. This trip to Huaxia has failed. Whale's face was ashen. When Tang Zheng saw so many soldiers blocking the audience outside and surrounding himself and Muda's corpse in the middle, he understood what had happened. This match was not as simple as it seemed on the surface. It had already attracted the attention of the national level. Then the Rockefeller family's conspiracy would not be able to succeed for the time being. His expression was very calm. He was not in a hurry to rush out of the encirclement. Since the military had already taken over this matter, then of course there would be someone in charge. Sure enough, an officer walked over. Looking closely, it was actually Tang Zheng's old acquaintance, Kai Guibin, the commander of his military training. Kai Guibin looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated expression. Back then during the military training, he was quite fond of Tang Zheng. He thought that Tang Zheng was not simple and was a good seedling. However, later on in the border town, Tang Zheng went on a killing spree. His influence was very bad. In addition, Wu did not have a good impression of Tang Zheng at the time. Therefore, in the end, Tang Zheng did not even get any credit. Tang Zheng's connection with the military also came to an abrupt end. The military chose Takashi, but now Takashi's body was nowhere to be found. This caused the military's plan to promote elites from the university to die before it was even born. This made the boss who proposed this plan very angry. After that, Kai Guibin often thought that if he had chosen Tang Zheng as the focus of his training, perhaps that plan would not have died prematurely. However, seeing Tang Zheng again this time, Kai Guibin had mixed feelings. It turned out that he had underestimated this university student. The other party was truly hiding his strength. At that time, not only him, but everyone else had misjudged him. When Kai Guibin received this mission, he was also extremely shocked. A monster actually appeared in broad daylight, and it was even fighting with Tang Jing. However, when he rushed to the scene and saw Tang Jing safe and sound, and the monster lying dead in the ruins, he still felt deeply shocked. He walked in front of Tang Jing and extended his hand, saying, "Tang Jing, we meet again." Tang Jing held his hand, nodded and said, "Commander Kai, long time no see." "Yeah, long time no see." A scholar who has been away for 3 days should be looked at with new eyes. Today, I truly understand the true meaning of this sentence. Kai Guibin sighed. "Do you need me to do anything?" Tang Jing calmly asked. "Come with us. Don't worry, we definitely won't make things difficult for you," Kai Guibin promised. Tang Jing nodded and looked in the direction of the rostrum. He saw Yu Zhangkui slumped in his chair, so he pointed at him and said, "Commander Kai, you better capture the chairman of the Martial Arts Association, Yu Zhangkui. Maybe he will be of some help to you." Towards this traitor, Tang Jing obviously would not give him the chance to escape. Kai Guibin nodded and signaled to the 2 soldiers. The soldiers immediately rushed over and grabbed Yu Zhangkui. Yu Zhangkui seemed to have awoken from a dream and immediately shouted, "I am the chairman of the Martial Arts Association, I am an official. What right do you have to capture me?" However, the soldier didn't want to talk nonsense with him. He directly smashed the butt of the gun into Yu Zhangkui's head. Yu Zhangkui screamed and immediately became silent. He was like a defeated rooster that was obediently taken away. Kai Guibin carefully observed Mudu's corpse and said in amazement, "I have lived for dozens of years and have never seen this thing. What kind of monster is this?" Tang Jing blankly shook his head and said, "I also don't know. I only know that this guy was very fierce. If he didn't die, then I would die. So I spent a lot of effort to kill him." Kai Guibin gave a thumbs up to Tang Jing and praised, "Your martial arts are really powerful. I have seen the videos of your previous matches. It was really exciting. You displayed the essence of our Hua Xia martial arts." Tang Jing waved his hand and said, "Commander Kai, you flatter me. I won't talk nonsense. I really admire you. You are the cornerstone of Hua Xia's future. However, this time you caused such a big scene. How are you going to clean it up?" Kai Guibin sighed as he pointed to the sea of people in the audience. Seeing the military move out, many of the audience did not quickly leave the arena. Instead, they looked as if they had been injected with chicken blood and were watching from afar. This matter was too sensational. To be able to see it with their own eyes, there was not a single audience member who did not feel that this match was worth it. Even if they bought a high-priced ticket, it was definitely worth the price of the ticket. Tang Jing shrugged. The government would find a way to explain. This was not a problem for him to worry about. As for whether the public believed it or not, that was another matter. Seeing that Fang Shirshir, Yi Dingdang and the others were also blocked outside by the army, he said to Kai Guibin, "I will first go and say a few words to my friends, then we will leave, is that okay?" "Go ahead. As long as you don't run away, I will have completed my task." Kai Guibin smiled. Tang Jing walked to the side of a few people. Those who were familiar with him all squeezed over. The way they looked at him had already changed, especially the few ordinary people who were directly speechless. At this moment, although Tang Jing had restrained himself, the murderous aura on his body was still very strong. It was so sharp that ordinary people did not dare to underestimate him. Fang Shirshir and Yi Dingdang were not affected. The 2 of them seemed to have a tacit understanding as they searched Tang Jing's body. At the same time, they kept asking, "Are you hurt?" Being pincered by 2 great beauties could be said to be a blessing. Tang Jing was very thick-skinned, but with so many people looking at him, he could not help but blush. He hurriedly said, "I'm fine." Only then did the 2 of them feel relieved. They stood on either side of Tang Jing. No matter how they looked at it, it looked like he was hugging 2 beauties. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.